Hi, hello. Welcome back to Passive Pixels, a media catch-up podcast. It is me, one of the hosts, Edwin Castillo. I have my other host here, Dorian Canadian Moosington. He is a wonderful man. Dorian, how you doing, man?
Good. How you doing, man?
Oh well, as you know, but no one else knows, I broke my stand. So that's a great start. Definitely a great omen, if you ask me.
Yeah, it seems like every time we do this lately, it's just the start of it's been really scuffed. So I don't know what's going to happen next time.
You're not wrong. Honestly, the good thing is that I actually remember to say the name of the podcast, unlike did last time. I mean, this time I'm just going to even say episode 8. Yeah, look at me.
Wow.
I even remembered the number this time, and it wasn't because I have it open on a different screen. Definitely not that. No. All right. So I decided to introduce a new segment. You had said that your list was looking a little thin. Mine was probably going to carry it for the most part. So I thought this would be a good time to introduce something stupid, but at the same time, potentially informative. How are you feeling right now? Does this frighten you? Do you think that we're both going to we're going to end up bloody just after the end of this, or how are you feeling about the idea of a new segment?
I think it's going to be completely edited out. So we'll see if it even makes the show.
Shit. Okay. All right. So, that the high expectations, high expectations. I hope to meet the bar. So, what I remember doing, right? I think whenever I had met my wife, well, not met. I want to say by the time that we actually started dating, getting close to dating. I feel like that's probably the right frame. Of course, you have that little dance where the both of you just start texting and you just realize that that's just a mainstay for most of your days. And of course, you just start trying to figure out things to talk about. So what I remember doing is that I don't remember if it was her or my idea, but we would look up these lists of questions of what to ask people. Now, here's the thing. I feel like I'm much better at bouncing off of something than starting a conversation. So these questions are very useful. Now, Dorian, you are probably the person I talk to second most, mostly because I don't leave the house and all I do is talk to my wife. But I mean, to be fair, a better term would be pester my wife.
That's fair.
So the idea is basically that I have this list of questions. We can introduce this segment as long as we want to, or we can just delete it because who cares? But to be fair, this audience is literally just people I know and people you know. So either way, they're going to be hearing information they probably already know, but at least for the other person, it'll be new info.
Yeah, for Straw Hat, he might get something out of this.
Straw Hat, yeah, exactly. Straw Hat, what a good boy, what a wonderful boy. He will absolutely hear this, and I don't know, maybe he'll judge us for our favorite zoo animal. It might be enough to finally find us and kill us. And honestly, that sounds like a pretty good scenario for both of us.
Oh yeah, I'm in. Then don't edit the segment out. I changed my mind.
All right, so pick a number between 1 and 100.
8.
8. Ooh, okay. All right. All right. 8. Uh, mm, that's a weak start, but fuck it. What is the favorite thing about your career?
A favorite thing about my career. That's a good question. I would say that I get to be very vocal. I get to be around people. I get to interact with people. Despite my personality sometimes and how I come across as hating everything, and I do hate everything. I
Same.
do, I do like interacting with people, and I do like that portion of it. So I would go with that.
All right. Now, my choice of my favorite thing about my career. Now, I think I'm going to take this more in the form of your favorite thing about your job, because the favorite thing about my career, it's easy. I like computers. I'm around technology. That's the boring answer. My favorite thing about my job, though, is that I work with a small team that basically just gets to independently do our own thing and be experts at what we do. So I'm a big fan of just being on a small, nimble team that we have our own goal that we can do whatever we need to do. Big fan of that.
Yeah, that would be pretty great. Plus, I mean,
Mhm.
plus I was going to say too. I don't know. It's obviously not permanent, but you're getting to work from home right now, right? So it's pretty sweet.
Oh my god, please don't say that it's not permanent. There's something about that I don't
Knock on wood.
wanna think about that. Dude, it's probably cheap wood, but I don't care. Like, I need some luck here.
Yeah, it's definitely cheap wood. We're knocking on IKEA wood, so I don't know if it's going to help, but
It's Amazon would. It's probably even cheaper.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that was a segment. That was like 2 or 3 minutes. Wow, look at that.
I'm sorry to pick such a shitty number. I'll try to do better next time.
I do wonder. 8 feels very specific. It might be on this list, but screw it. Let's do this. What's your favorite number?
Yeah, it's 8.
I had a feeling. I had a
Yeah,
feeling.
8's my lucky number. So if it's always like whenever I get asked like for a number for anything, it's always what I'll go to first, and it let me down like it usually does. So it's right on.
Mine would be 13. There's just
God,
something that I like about it. I like that it gets a bad rap.
yeah, unlucky number 13.
Mm, mm, mm. All right. We got it. We got it. That's a segment. We'll see if we bring it back or if we decide that that was a waste and I cut it out. I don't know yet, but we'll find out. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with my list. Dorian, I'm curious, what does your list look like? Is it really looking that threadbare? Like, what are we looking at? Less than
Well,
five?
it's no, it's I think it's 6. Hold on, let me count total. It is 6. It is 6. So it's 6 things only. But they are things that I actually at least do have a lot to say about. So I'll say that
Okay.
much.
I have 10 on my list, and I think we need to break protocol once. Now, you told me that we'd have to name this episode Weeb Trial 2 Electric Boogaloo. And I think because that is very accurate, I'm going to hate how accurate it is for this episode. So I think we need to front load that.
Yeah, I'm fine
Now,
with that. Do you want to like list off everything first, or are we just going to jump
yeah,
right into the Weeb trial?
no, 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 no. We're going to list everything off, but we're going to front load Weeb Trial this
Yeah,
time.
no, that's fair. I agree with that. It's a good starting place, and I will prepare to stand. I'm not standing trial. You're standing trial. I'll prepare to judge over it. I guess I don't know what the term is.
You will preside
Preside.
over the decision.
I was just thinking that as you said it. Preside. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So my list is Curb Your Enthusiasm, Tony Hawk Remake 1 and 2, South Park The Stick of Truth, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Returnal, Devs, Neon Genesis Evangelion plus End of Evangelion, The Leftover Season 1, Perfect Blue, and Princess Mononoke.
Good list.
And your list.
So I got Days Gone, Returnal, Mass Effect 1, and Far Cry 5 for video games. And then the only 2 movies, TV shows I have are Love, Death, and Robots and Princess Mononoke.
All right. So now that we got that out of the way, all right, hold on. It's probably not going to pick it up, but just imagine that there's a gavel sound. Like that's what we're going to say.
All
Court.
rise!
Oh, okay. All right, hold on. All right, let's get up. Okay. The stand broke, so I can move the mic easily, so I can
Yeah, I know, right?
stand.
This trial is now in session.
Okay. All right. Judge, can we sit down now?
Yeah, you can sit.
Perfect.
Be seated. Be seated.
All right. Judge Dorian will be presiding over the decision.
The people versus Edwin. In the case of Weebery, part 2. Getting tired of seeing you in my courtroom, Ed.
I'm tired of being here.
All right. Proceed.
All right. So, I, as well as many other people, are being brought in here because I'm being accused of weebery. Now, we have 3 things on the docket that might be finally the thing that puts me away for life. And I kind of hope that we can push for the death penalty because even if I disagree with the verdict, I want guilty or not guilty to be either punished or rewarded with a death penalty.
Yeah, I'll join you.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Me and the judge, I assume, are both on trial and being judged at the same time. This is a fucking kangaroo court, and I can't believe anyone is taking this seriously. But then again,
I wouldn't have it
don't
any
think
other way.
anyone is. So we have 3 things in the docket for the courtroom to render their verdict. We have, obviously, Perfect Blue. We've got Princess Mononoke. And then we're going to end with Neon Genesis Evangelion, because even now, I'm still going to delay it. So, do you want to start off on the same foot with Princess Mononoke, or should I shoot myself on the foot with Perfect Blue first?
No, let's start with Princess Mononoke, because I'm going to, I'll defend that as non-weeb shit, honestly. So.
Oh, trust me, I will too. So, do
yeah.
you want to take the first step, or shall I?
I'll go ahead. I'm going to just gush over this movie and say it's actually probably my favorite piece of animated anything I've ever seen. And that's really high praise. I fucking loved this movie, though. I have seen, like, I think we talked a little bit about Ghibli last week.
Mhm.
I'm a fan of Ghibli. I think they make really good stuff. Previous to this, my favorite Ghibli thing I had seen had been Howl's Moving Castle, which I was a really big fan of. I loved Howl's Moving Castle. And I've seen Spirited Away too, which I love as well, but Howl's is my favorite. But this fucking Princess Mononoke, from the opening scene, and I don't think this is a spoiler because it literally happens within like the first 5 minutes, but the imagery of that fucking boar, pig, whatever it is, combined with the demon, right away, I knew I was in for something special with this movie. And that image of him like basically slowly mutating and turning into a demon is still haunting in my mind. So I fucking loved it.
I'm just gonna say that I love watching old animation because you know that they're not cheating, and if they are, it's still not computer cheating. So being able to see each one of those individual demon tentacles just crawling on the pig, I was like, man, I can't imagine how annoying and just how much work that is. And I
Oh, for
just
sure.
that was the moment that that's the thing. I got home earlier today at 1 a.m. from watching The Leftovers and Perfect Blue with my best friend. So I got home. I didn't really feel like going to sleep. It reminded me about Princess Mononoke, and I was like, I'm probably going to be fighting to keep my eyes open while I'm watching this, but I'm still going to start it anyways. And there were moments where I was like, no, 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 you like this movie. Do not get confused with the tiredness. And I stayed up through it. And my God, I can't believe how gorgeous this movie is.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know. The it's just funny though because mm, how do I phrase it? Screw it. I'm just gonna phrase it. This is Breath of the Wild looked at this and went, "Yeah, that."
Actually, you know what? I agree with that. No, you're not wrong. That's a really good comparison.
Like I was watching this and I was thinking that. Then the other moment I had was that also Shadow of the Colossus looked at this and went, "Yeah, that."
You can just tell how much shit this inspired. Like, there
Yes.
is no way those games, any type of thing like that kind of lonely open atmosphere, and you're kind of out in the wilderness, like whether it's a movie, game, whatever medium, I guarantee you this shit inspired so much.
Oh my god, no. I mean, this just feels like okay, this was 97. Do you wanna know what else came out in 97 that had the similar vibe, but it probably doesn't seem like it was inspired by?
Oh, what's that?
Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I just kept thinking about Final Fantasy VII because I was thinking, "Man, both of these came out in 97 with kind of the similar message of the environmentalism, angle," and I just kept thinking, I was like, "Man, what is it about 1997 that the Japanese just kinda nailed it for me?"
Oh, for sure.
Because we've got Princess Mononoke that came out in 2007, Jesus, 1997. We've got Final Fantasy VII, which was also 1997. Perfect Blue was 2007. Damn it, why do I keep saying 2000?
1997.
1997,
Well,
we've got Perfect Blue in 1997,
we need to
and
check
then we have
2007 and see what was
oh,
going on then.
I don't know, man. I just for some reason forget that the 90s exists now,
Yeah,
even
fair.
though I still think it is the 90s.
Yeah, same.
So we've got that. We've got Perfect Blue. We've got the end of Evangelion in 97. Oh, by the way, I just spoiled that. Well, fuck, whatever. We'll get there. Um, Final Fantasy VII, Prince Mononoke, end of Evangelion. I was Metal Gear Solid 2007 as well.
Yes.
I mean, sorry, 97.
1997, you
God,
said.
oh, every single
It's
time.
let me see, I think it was 90, it's either 97 or 98.
Okay, was
Uh,
it 97 in
n
Japan or was it
yeah,
2008 worldwide? No. Oh, no, no, it was 2008. Okay, never mind. We can't include Metal Gear Solid.
2008?
Oh, wait. No, see, now I'm getting you confused too.
No, you said 2008, 1998.
Wait, damn it. Ah, I'm just erasing the 90s, okay? I'm sorry. You know what? History only started after 9/11, okay? I apologize to
Uh,
everyone.
yeah, so Metal Gear Solid was a year late. Kojima needed some extra polish time, but I do think you bring up a really interesting point. Again, I haven't seen Perfect Blue, but you've made me want to watch it. NG, I'm not so sure about, but the fact that there's all this golden, basically Japanese games and animation coming out in 1997 is very interesting. So
Yeah, I don't understand why is it that these are the things that landed with me, and there I go again, just tipping my hand for Evangelion, but we'll get there because I am way more conflicted than it might sound right now about that. So, damn, Princess Mononoke. I just need to get one thing out of the way that is just going to be something that is undeniably incredible. I need a Yakul in my life.
yeah, no kidding, eh?
My god, that deer, every single time that there was a battle between Ashitaka and other people, I was like, "I just need Yakul to get out of the like, I need Yakul to be safe. If you
Yeah.
kill Yakul, I'm
Oh,
going to just lose my shit."
well, I was getting heavy, and I guess, I mean, not to spoil anything, but I was getting heavy Red Dead Redemption 2 vibes, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay, alright,
Yeah,
we're
like,
I
I
like
I I was getting
go
heavy
for it.
vibes. I'm like, "Oh my god, you fuckers are gonna kill him, aren't you? You fuckers are gonna kill him, aren't you?" But, yeah.
Oh my god. Look, guys, we haven't said anything about if Yakul dies or not, okay? So if any of you are like, "Eh," like, no. We haven't said anything, okay? Maybe he does. Maybe I was bawling my eyes out at 4 AM over a drawn deer, okay?
Yeah,
I've said nothing.
we won't say anything about that. Was it dubbed or sub for you?
I went dubbed because as we established in the last Weeb Trial, I see them as foreign films, so I don't there's something about watching a dub where I'm like, "This doesn't feel right." Even if there's, like, a good dub for it, I keep thinking, But this isn't the way that it was originally made."
So you went sub, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So I actually went dub for it, which I kind of regret, and I want to watch it again in sub. I'll say this, the dub actually wasn't bad, but Billy Bob Thornton does one of the voices, and I love Billy Bob
Ooh.
Thornton, but he fucking phoned this one in, man.
Oh my
He
no.
plays Jigo or Jigo, I might be saying that wrong. And he absolutely phoned it in. It was horrendous and very distracting. Every other character though was really well done in my opinion. Minnie Driver's in there, John Diamago, Billy Crudup, even Jada Pinkett Smith's in there, Gillian Anderson. Really good cast, but fucking Billy Bob Thornton was so
I
bad.
I fucking hate it that I just imagine someone dubbing Bad Santa lines over Princess Mononoke and just releasing it out to the public.
It could be. I was really sad because I love Billy Bob Thornton. He was great in Bad Santa. He's the best part of Fargo season one. He's fantastic, but oh my god, yeah, he did not do it. He took a paycheck on this one,
Oh,
which is too bad
jeez.
because this movie's incredible.
Jigo, please help us against the demons. I'm on my fucking lunch break, okay? Like, god damn it. Okay. So yeah, at least from the dub, that's the thing. I don't know what it is. I just don't ever feel like I understand the intonation for other languages, and I think that's mostly because I already have trouble understanding English
Oh yeah,
already.
oh for sure.
So, like I said, I feel like I'm verbally dyslexic, where for some reason, if I just hear things, my brain just goes, occasionally, "This isn't language, you didn't understand that." Ask them to repeat themselves 2 more times before you realize you don't understand, and then just give up. So already with that, going into a different language is just something that in my head I go, "Man, I don't think I can really pay attention to the performance here unless you're anime where it's just like high pitched screeches where you're just yelling constantly. Like that's the only time that it drives me insane. And isn't that what just anime for the most part is just fucking people yelling into a microphone. It's just like, okay, no, hold on. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive. Wait, no, I'm not. It's anime. Fuck anime.
Yeah,
Ugh.
and back to like the initial point. Okay, and sorry, I'm blanking. What is what's the director's name here? The creator,
Miyazaki.
Miyazaki. Thank you.
Mhm.
He famously hates anime, right? Like he
Yes.
trashes it all the time. And I think there's a distinction to be made with that. Like this, I understand this is animated and it's from Japan, so from a technical standpoint, it probably is anime. Maybe you even want to call it weeb shit. I don't know. I disagree with that fundamentally though, because again, he does not like anime. He thinks anime is trash, and yeah, I don't think it is. So that's where I'm
So in other
standing on that
words,
one.
I could use that exact same argument for Perfect Blue, and that's a
Yes.
beautiful thing.
Yes, we're gonna have trouble with the last one, but Perfect Blue, I
Oh,
think you're gonna get a pass on that too.
no, last one. We'll get there. Like, that show has been torturing me for the last 2 days, and we'll get to that. Damn it, I fucking hate that I'm just teasing it so much. I just don't wanna dip in there yet.
But yeah,
Um,
Mononoke is beautiful. It also feels a lot more adult than anything else I've seen
yes.
from Ghibli. Spirited Away is probably the other one I've seen closest to that in terms of the ones I've seen personally. But even this was definitely like there was so much blood in this, like a lot of really violent imagery, very serious story. Yeah, very different from most of the other works, but it's a cut above the rest for me. Like it was so well done.
I didn't know Ghibli could be cool. Like,
Yeah,
I thought that they were just always kind of, like, cute and poppy. Like, I know that they're not that because Grave of the Fireflies exist. Like, Grave of the Fireflies is just something that I don't ever wanna go through again, but
and I
I
need to
don't
watch that.
regret. Oh my g uh, uh, br oh my god. Dorian, what I'm telling you right now, like, if you've seen some of those movies where you're just like, "Wow, that was art."
Yeah.
I was not in the right mood for this. My entire day is ruined because of this. Like, if I were in more of a bad mood, I feel like killing myself would have been the best option after this.
Yeah, definitely need to see that then. You're just hyping it up for me.
Oh my god. This is one of those movies where I'm just like, "Jesus, this is just the saddest thing ever," and it's not sad porn, like, it's just legitimately sad, and it's just oh my god. Look, okay, if you ever see the poster for Grave of the Fireflies, I had this introduced to me, and it's something that will always remind me of Grave of the Fireflies. So if you look up the poster, in the back well, okay, so at the bottom of the poster is the 2 main characters of Grave of the Fireflies, and then there's fireflies that are right above them,
Okay. I'm
except
looking at
you
it right now.
yeah, so except it's not fireflies, it's actually sinew and explosion dust from an airplane at the top.
Oh, okay.
Do you know anything about Grave of the Fireflies?
I know nothing. I've heard it's
Ooh.
very good. It's Ghibli, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it just I think there's some weird licensing issues with it in the States, is from what I've heard. But so it doesn't appear with all the other ones sometimes, even maybe on media, because I know it got a separate steelbook release. I was looking into it, but not
Mm,
from the same line of these recent ones, and it's impossible
mm,
to get. So I wanted to buy it, but I can't find it anywhere. So
mm. Okay. World War II, Japan after the nukes.
oh, okay, yeah, I'm in.
Ye
That
ye
sounds great. I'm definitely in.
oh,
My heart's gonna be fucked, but I'm in.
oh my god, Dorian, I can tell you right now, it's just be in the right mood.
Yeah. Oh,
Put
yeah.
it
No,
this
no. Trust me. I know what. I'm not gonna go into that expecting Kiki's delivery service,
Yeah.
which I love too. But yeah, like Kiki's delivery service to even Princess Mononoke was such a departure for those, and then around the same time too. Like I think Kiki's was in '89 or '88, so we're talking about 9 years. So
Dude,
to
the
go from
funny
that
thing
to that,
is that used to be a double feature with My Neighbor Totoro.
Grave of the Fireflies.
Yes.
Oh fuck me. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't seen Grave of the Fireflies, but my neighbor Totoro is a lot more sweet.
Oh, yeah. No, no, the funny thing is that I think that when I was reading into it, I think they initially put, My Neighbor Totoro in front of it and then put Grave of the Fireflies because people
Yeah, it would make
realized
more
that I think if
sense.
they flipped it, you would just be so depressed that by the time you got to Totoro, you'd be like, "I don't think I could ever be happy again in my life."
I still don't know why you would pair them. Like, why not do Totoro and like Kiki's or Totoro and Castle in the Sky or
The same
fuck
year,
even
that's why.
what's that?
They both came out in the same year.
Oh, they both came out in the same year. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes I mean that makes a little bit more sense, but I
Mhm.
don't know if I still don't know if I double feature them.
Oh, yes, yeah, no, you're not wrong.
But again, I haven't seen it, so
Yeah.
we'll have no
Oh,
comment.
we'll get there, we'll get there. But man, Princess Mononoke, bringing it back, just the artwork on
Mhm,
display,
mhm,
my god, there was just so much love put into the environment of this. I kept thinking, "Man, I feel like I wanna play this.
mhm, yeah.
I want to explore all of this," and while I know you disagree, Breath of the Wild kinda did give that to me. Like, just that very quiet, very majestic environment. I know that you hate the weapons, but just imagine a bit of a walking simulator instead of what we got, and that's kind of the feeling I got.
Yeah, I'm just hanging myself from the mic cord, excuse me.
I don't blame you. But
But no, I'm not gonna comment on the other stuff, but the environment itself, I definitely can get the comparisons there. I definitely kinda got that feel to it too. I bet there was some inspiration there behind it. And it sounds like you enjoyed it overall, and I'm glad to hear that. I was a little bit worried when you told me last night that I'm gonna watch this at 1 AM, like, I don't know if that's the best timing for it, but it obviously held your attention, so it's good to hear.
no, it takes a lot for me to fall asleep during a movie. So, the good thing is that I knew it was good enough that even if I was struggling to fall asleep, I would wanna pay attention.
Yeah, one
But
of Ghibli's longer movies too. I think it's, like, close to 2.5 hours. Like,
it's
it's a
over 2 hours. I thought it
yeah,
was gonna be 140.
no, a beefy boy.
Yeah, which
Lot
makes
to
it
tell,
even
though.
more insane.
Yeah, a lot to
Oh,
tell.
yeah.
It doesn't feel like a 2 hour like, over 2 hour movie. It blows
No,
by.
I think it's crazier just because when you think about how animated movies try to cut it shorter because animation is just insane. Like if you add an extra minute, that's just so much more development that you have to do. Then to go over 2 hours, like you can tell that Ghibli had a passion for this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
God, I just all the I was about to say demons, but all the gods that they had, I just kept thinking, God, this is so cool.
Yeah,
All
when
of
they
the imagery is just so they're just things that become so iconic. This feels like their masterpiece, but then when you think that Spirited Away was literally a bet that I think they had at Ghibli where they're like, you want to try to just do the most insane animation work ever, and then they did Spirited Away. I don't were these back to back or was there things in between?
for Prince oh, that's a really good question. Let me
Alright,
see here where hold on. No. For Miyazaki, yes, it looks like it was,
okay.
but in between there was My Neighbor the Yamadas by Isao Takahata, which was
Hmm.
technically a Ghibli release, I guess, in 1999. But for Miyazaki, yeah, it went from Mononoke straight to Spirited Away.
Jesus, can you imagine Miyazaki just taking animation and raising it up a level with Mononoke and then go back and saying, "I can do it again," though?
Oh, yeah, and I'm higher I know have you seen Howl's Moving Castle?
No, that one
Okay,
is
so
one I'll get
okay.
to.
So I'm higher than most people on Howl's Moving Castle, but that was after Spirited Away too. So for me, it literally goes from Mononoke, which is now my favorite, to Spirited Away, which is my third favorite, to Howl's Moving Castle, which is my second favorite. So it was like that stretch for me was ridiculous.
That's some it's so weird. I wanted to say that's golden age, but well, actually, no, now that I'm looking, that might be golden age because let's see, we got Poco Rosso in 92. What else did Miyazaki do? Oh my god. Dude, Miyazaki was working on Mononoke for 5
Yeah,
years.
which you can tell for sure.
Yeah, oh my god. So, if anything, let's focus it back on the movie because I just feel like we keep talking about the animation and the stuff around it, but we
Oh,
don't dig into the actual movie.
yeah, no, that's fair. Without spoilers, the movie's great. There's that one you were just talking about all the gods, basically when they kind of all get together in the forest, when they're kind of having that meeting for the first time or whatever, and all talking with each other. The imagery in that's just so fucking cool.
I just it's so weird because this really did turn around for me. That's okay. So of course, it's always incorrect to say that Ghibli is the Japanese Pixar because yes, I know they predate it, but that's usually the easiest way to make it palpable. This is the movie where you go, okay, except that one.
Yeah.
Because Pixar, for the most part, feels like anything that you watch, you can show kids, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, kids and adults are both going to love this. Princess Mononoke, you can still show kids and you can show adults, but you can tell that the thumb was a little bit harder for adults than anything
Absolutely.
else.
Which I would still love to see Pixar do something one day
Yes.
where like they're kind of catering towards adults, let them get a little bit creative with that, let them do what they want. I don't know if Disney will ever let that happen.
Nope.
Probably not, unfortunately.
Nope.
But boy, would I love to see that because I think they could, if they had the creative freedom and were allowed to do what they wanted to and could make something a bit more geared towards adult, they could have a Mononoke in them for sure, I think. But
I
I don't know. The studio's gone downhill. That's a whole other conversation.
I was thinking that Disney wouldn't let him.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they would either, honestly. And even if Disney let them, I don't know, like, because I think you're higher on Soul than I was, but I wasn't even that big a
Yes.
fan of Soul, to be honest with you. So they've just really dropped in quality for me.
Oh man. Yeah, Pixar, that's another conversation.
Yeah,
If
that's a
for some
whole.
reason,
That's on the
yeah.
Sell It episode.
But
It's
I
still
don't know if I
Disney.
like yeah,
It's still Disney.
no, but they actually have a soul, damn it.
They do. I'm just you could bring up Pixar stuff with the Disney episode. I mean, the UK, that's fair. They could have separate episodes too, I suppose. Fair enough.
Tha that's the thing. If I'm doing a sellout episode, it's literally gonna be Star Wars and Marvel. Like, that's it.
Yeah, okay, fair. No, I agree, and I didn't mean to compare it like that. Like Pixar's early stuff is, and even later stuff. Ratatouille is still like one of my favorite animated movies of all time as well.
I
So
still need to watch it again. I only watched it in theaters, and I was like, "Yeah, that was good." I like The Incredibles.
I love The Incredibles too. Incredibles is up there. It's, if you're asking me which is my favorite, it's Incredibles or Ratatouille for Pixar. So
Damn it, how do we keep doing this? Damn it. Princess Mononoke.
very good. Very good. Like I said, I'm literally like, I know that's a bold statement to make, but this is like, unless I can think of, like, I'd have to really think, but this is, I think, one of my favorite pieces of animation I've ever seen. Like, I was wowed from beginning to end. I never took my eyes off the screen, which I'm pretty bad for when I watch movies. Sometimes I'll kind of drift off to my phone, drift off to the Discord. Like, I'm pretty bad for getting distracted. Mononoke, beginning to end, I was glued to that fucking movie.
The God, I just keep
Oh,
wanting
the
to
music's
compliment it in my mind.
mm,
Oh, yes.
mm,
Oh my god, the
mm,
music just sets the tone perfectly.
mhm.
God, but by the way, Irontown. What about Irontown? Every time that I looked at that, I was like, "Man, you guys, even though you have the pretty artwork, I feel like you guys are intentionally making Irontown look a little bit worse." And of course, knowing how the movie is, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I was still shocked that even with the fact that it looked like they were trying to kick it down to be like, ah, society, this is ugly, back to the woods. But even then, I still was transfixed by the amount of artwork in Irontown, which, to be fair, that's impressive to do, to draw something that's intentionally supposed to look worse but still looks really good.
No, you could definitely tell that's, like, what the artistic intent was of it, and they absolutely nailed it, and it's such, like, I don't know if "shithole" is the right word, like,
It is though. It is.
it looks like a shithole, but it's a just a beautifully designed shithole, but you could
Yes.
definitely, but it's a character onto its own. Like, when you get there, you can kinda see what's going on there with all the with all the crazy woman that kinda wanna that kinda wanna jump, Ashitaka's
Ashitaka.
bones at first. Like
Okay, look. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't until that I just realized, man, I like the way that Ghibli draws faces,
Yes.
because I don't know what it is. It's just the Ghibli art style feels like, okay, most of the time their art style feels like, okay, we're gonna kind of cut this down to kids. But I don't know if look, I literally could be talking out of my ass because maybe it's literally just the exact same style. Maybe they haven't changed it at all. But here it feels like they just kind of aged it up a little bit, and I love the look. And it drives me insane that I was thinking, man, I'd love to play a game in this art style. And then I remembered Nino Kuni, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't like Nino Kuni. Damn it. We already got it.
I own Nino Kuni. Actually, I got 2 for free. So I'm gonna be playing them eventually, and I'll tell you this right now, if I don't end up liking that game, I'm gonna be really fucking disappointed. Because it seemed like Ghibli on board for something like this. It kind of gives me Pokemon vibes, early Pokemon vibes. If I end up disliking that game, I'm gonna be sad.
Uh, Dorian, I'm sorry. You're probably gonna be a little bit sad. I don't know. I don't feel like that gameplay is gonna grab you. And the problem is that for me, I I'm definitely pickier about gameplay than you are, but I think at some point, because of the fact that it's a JRPG, you're gonna reach a point where you're like, oh, I don't know if this is still worth it. But then
Yeah.
again, you have more tolerance to get through games, even if you don't
Oh,
like them, than I do.
we'll talk about
Oh,
that. Don't
no,
you
no,
worry.
oh my yeah, that's the thing. We're front loading that after the Weeb trial.
Yeah, like we got Weeb Trial. This is also fucking Days Gone trial for me, but we'll fucking get to that shit.
Don't worry, we're gonna flip the table for that one. So, Princess Mononoke, I think at this point we're spinning wheels. Damn
Yes.
good, very pretty. Please watch it.
5 out of 5 stars for me. Like that is an absolute masterclass in anime. So
I'm going to give it a Yakul out of 10.
yeah, okay, take it.
God, okay, Yakul's just so fucking good. Oh, I love
Yeah,
that little deer.
yeah.
Okay,
All right,
all right,
time to put you on trial, Ed.
all right. Back on trial. I am back
Yes,
in the seat. We're no longer sitting next to each other, being interrogated by literally no one. Okay,
correct.
I am in the chair. I'm about to talk about Perfect Blue. Oh my god. Ah, this is just still so good. This is still so much my shit. Oh my god. I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, but every single time that I have something that I watch that I just like really like and is just something that is so my shit, I'm not gonna lie. In my ear, I hear, that's my shit. Like it clicks.
Is that Gwen Stefani? Are you
I think so. I have no idea where that's from.
like from the Hollaback
I
Girl?
think so. I've
Uh-huh, this my shit. Oh, look
yeah,
like that? Yeah, yeah, okay.
yes.
Alright.
Okay, I no joke hear that in my head, and way too often rewatching Perfect Blue did that click in my head. I showed my best friend Perfect Blue, and here's the thing, he's a weeb. He's a fucking weeb. He likes anime. Like, he actually legitimately like
He does he admit it?
yes. No, no,
Okay,
he is.
okay.
No, dude, okay. This is the person who I banned from recommending me anything ever again because he told me about an anime. He's like, "Nah, man, this is one you're gonna like, and it's called Terraform Mars." I
Right,
watched
right.
3 episodes,
Yeah.
and I think it is the most despair I've ever felt in college, and I was there for 4 years. No, sorry, 5. That is the most despair I've ever felt, was watching Terraform Mars in a study room at college. And I just remember texting him like, "You are never, ever, ever allowed to recommend me anything ever again." And the 2 things that he has under his name for recommending me stuff, I can give him BioShock and Siege, alright? He gave me those 2 things, and I hate Terraform Mars, like, at least 4 or 5 times more than I love BioShock and Siege.
That's crazy 'cause well, I mean, I you know how I feel about BioShock, so
Yes, I know, that's the thing. Everyone likes BioShock. He gave me BioShock, and Terraform Mars was enough for me to not only just ignore everything else that he's given me, but enough to just put him so deep in a hole that I'm like, "You are never allowed to recommend me anything ever again."
if I'm
And
being
the
honest, I
mm,
kinda wanna give that a shot now.
no, no,
I wanna see
no,
how bad
no.
I just wanna see how bad it is.
Oh my god, Addy, it infuriates me. It in th have you ever seen a roach with a 12 pack?
Oof, oh, no, thank God.
A humanoid roach with a 12 pack at some point takes a person's head, rips their head off, grabs their spine, swings the spine so it becomes a sharp edged sword, and starts cutting people up. And I was thinking, this is possibly the worst shit I've ever seen. I am infuriated right now. I want humanity wiped off the planet and all of our history burnt down if this is something that we have to show. When aliens land here and if they see Terraform Mars, I will join them as their pet as I get to watch humanity burn. And once humanity is burned, I'll ask them to put me out to pasture too.
What if the aliens are like roaches with 12 packs, though, and they like it?
Oh, that's I'm going to have to self-immolate. It's the only option. At that point, I'm going to just
Uh,
dump gasoline on myself, light it, and I'm just going to be screaming "fuck Terraform Mars" for the last moments that I live.
so Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue. The reason I even brought him up was because even he, who knows anime, was like, "Yeah, that's definitely animated. I don't know if I'd call it anime." And I was like, "Damn." Even he gave it the stamp of approval. Where he's like, "Yeah, you can say it's anime, but you can definitely say it's not anime."
Does he like
Like,
it?
oh, he loved it.
Okay.
Like he looked at me and was like, "Dude, this was some fuck shit." And I was like, "I told you. Why do you think I like it?" Like, even rewatching it, because I had already seen it before, I was picking up on it more, and oh my god, the transition work in this movie is so ridiculous, and I started realizing that I am such a huge fan of whenever you use the medium as the message. So, the fact that, of course, you're watching a movie, the fact that you can use the stuff that you take for granted within a movie, like, of course, like sound design here, editing here, coloring here, whenever you can take stuff from the medium itself and use that to tell the story is so insane. Because of course, this movie is very dreamlike. It is very flowing between scenes back and forth. the fact that you're questioning what's real and what's not, the editing work, the transition work, these 2 things are doing so much heavy lifting. And not only that, I am always a big fan of now here's the thing, anime, super violent for the most part, and that's usually the garbage shit. Like, most of the stuff that's supremely popular is also, like, really violent, but at some point, it just becomes numb where you're just like, "Oh, another character got their arm ripped off, whatever." Like, it's why Princess Mononoke, since we're so used to Ghibli, once that first arm gets cut off, you're like, Whoa, I don't think I was ready for that." This movie plays it so straight in the fact that it's not even drawn like most animes. It tries to actually be super grounded in reality, that once violent things happen, it just hits even harder. And I'm just so impressed with the restraint for that, especially when you consider its counterparts where they're just so violent, but like it just is pointlessly violent. Like, violence is pretty fucking cool. Don't get my words twisted. Violence is super cool. But at some point, you just need to know how to use it properly before it just becomes meaningless.
I completely agree. It's kind of related, I think. I mean, they're not exactly the same thing, but we were talking last week about jump scares, and if you keep
Mhm.
doing jump scares constantly in a movie, it's going to be less effective. And I kind of feel the same way with violence in some cases. Like if you're a little bit more restrained with it and use it and like use it as a tool for the movie when you really want to show it off effectively, I feel it can be just that more effective.
Yeah, no, I mean, like we were talking about as well about PT. I mean, that's
Yeah.
one jump scare.
Hmm.
One jump scare, and everyone on the internet just collectively went, "Yeah, that was horrifying. I'm gonna use that at my thumbnail talking about PT."
Yeah. Yeah. Every time you see that thumbnail, it's that shot of Lisa.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
But
But
man, Perfect Blue, God, it's just still so good, and it's still insane to me that the only reason I watched this was because I saw the steelbook and went, "That's pretty."
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like, literally, I really wanna watch this now, like, it's on my list of consideration of things to watch, but I also feel like I don't wanna watch this till I get the steelbook, but, I mean, that's such a hard steelbook to get, so I don't know if I ever will, but, man, it is a gorgeous steelbook, so
So, I
I'll look
told
into
my
that.
best friend the same thing, and I was like, "Dude, I ordered this new when it released for retail. I have no idea what this looks like on the secondhand market." And he's like, "Oh, no. Oh, no."
Yeah.
We went to eBay, and shockingly, it wasn't expensive, at least USD. I don't know if, the Maple Bucks are
I'm taking
gonna
a peek right
kill
now.
you. So, at least from what I saw, there was someone who was actually selling it in France, and I think it was like 40 bucks total. And I was thinking, oh, that's actually not too bad when you consider it's an anime movie, it's a steelbook, and it's a different country. And I was thinking, okay, that's actually not too bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be if I wanted to order it, it'd be about 60 bucks Canadian, so
Mhm,
it's a little bit more, but that's about right. That's interesting. I'm gonna watch that and keep an eye on it. That's actually
mhm.
not as bad as I thought it would be. Now, but that's not gonna work in North American machines, right?
Correct. Yeah. I
Okay.
literally had to torrent it even after
Yeah.
buying it.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Good to know.
Which is funny, by the way. The torrent that I use, the only native language that they have that defaults to is Spanish. So I just kept watching it for a little bit. So we finished the movie, we watched it correctly, and his Xbox One S fucking knows that I hate it, so it started messing up the movie. So we couldn't use that. We
Yeah.
tried to use the PS5, and the PS5 went, you put a USB in me? I don't see it. You're a
Yeah.
goddamn fool. I don't know why you tried this." So what I did is that I took the USB and I connected it to the OLED TV, and the TV was just like, "Yeah, I know how to handle this."
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, that CX is so great for that stuff. It's ridiculous.
I yeah, I think he has the B7 or C7. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but
Makes sense, though. LG's usually pretty on top of their media stuff.
Mhm. No, I was shocked by the amount of minute things you can change on there. Like, you can change, of course, the subtitles, you can change the audio track, but you could even change the different size to the font for the subtitles, and I was honestly impressed.
That's really
So,
cool.
here we are now shilling for LG TVs again, but to be fair, them OLEDs are worth shilling about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect Blue, God, that is just a phenomenal thriller. That's just phenomenal. Hour 20 minutes in, out, damn good.
Yeah, that sounds good, and I'm not gonna find you guilty for any of this. Like I said, I think we've discussed this, but he doesn't really consider that, anime either. Satoshi Kon, I think, is
Mhm.
his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's different enough. Now, I can't really fully render my verdict on that until I see it, but I think I'm gonna give you a pass for this one.
Like I showed you with that scene, Satoshi Kon probably hates anime. Like, the fact that he has
Yes.
that supremely overdrawn anime character that slides over to one of his drawings, you're like, "Man, this man hates anime too. I like him."
Yeah.
So now, the next one.
Oh, you gotta do your review. Don't forget your review.
Oh, you're right, you're right, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, Perfect Blue. I give it a it's not anime out of 10.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it, so I'm just gonna give it a Edwin's not a weeb yet out of 10.
Yet. Yet. The key word is yet. It
Yes.
might change later depending on when you watch it and you go, "Fuck, am I a weeb too now for having watched this, or is he a weeb for even liking it?"
True, correct. But I'm more referencing what's coming up next. So take it away.
Right. Okay. So, Neon Genesis Evangelion
Just the
plus
name of that alone, by the way, is very
yeah.
weeb. I'm
No,
just
I
gonna
know.
say
I
it.
know. It is. I have no idea what Neon Genesis matters to the name. Seriously. People call it Evangelion only, and I get that. Like, it's the name of the big robots. So, okay, fine. I get that. Neon Genesis, I have no idea. That's probably just like, "Oh, man, those English letters sound pretty fucking cool when you put them together." Neon Genesis. Yeah. Evangelion. Neon Genesis Evangelion plus the end of Evangelion. I am so conflicted about this show. I love pieces of it that, no joke, they hit the same chords that Metal Gear and Nier hit, where I was thinking, "How the fuck did you do that? That should not be possible to hit the chords to the 2 IP that I probably care about the most." There are just moments in that entire run that I am going to remember till the day that I die. And then there are moments that I just wish I didn't have eyeballs anymore. I hate so much of this show. And there are some scenes where I'm thinking, was the time that I put into this worth it? And keep in mind, it's not much. It's at total 30 episodes if you include the movie as like 3 different episodes. It's not much of a time investment, but it easily is the worst things about anime that I hate condensed into one show, and then the stuff that is so my shit that it infuriates me that it's in here. Like, I was telling my best friend that I have such a low tolerance for anime in general that he would probably fucking love it. Like, he would eat this shit up because he has a tolerance for that. I, on the other hand, just do not. So as soon as it started showing its anime hand, I was like, I hate this. Now, the reason I even watched this was 3 different things. 40% of it was because Dustin Furman, the man from Last Stand Media and the former Handsome Phantom, 40% was his insistence by my love of Nier to watch it. So that's 40%. 30% is because Nier can easily draw influences from this. The other 30% is because Metal Gear also can draw influences to this. Now, half of the fucking show is a waste of my time. They have every single anime trope in there that just drives me up a fucking wall. Just the random perverted shit that just gets tossed in there. I don't know why I'm just so sensitive to that when it comes to anime. Cause like I can watch perverted shit like when it comes to movies or shows, live action, any of that, it'll kind of roll my eyes, but whenever anime does it, I just roll my eyes even harder back. They do a full 360 in my skull.
Yeah, I'm with
And
you on that.
oh my God, whenever they do that, it drives me insane. I hate that occasionally it just feels like the animation is getting really cheap, where it's like, oh, here's a scene where we're just gonna hold on a character's face. The scene isn't gonna move, the animation isn't gonna move. We're just gonna keep the sound going so it makes it feel like you're not just staring at a picture. But I can't ever stop thinking about that. There's moments where there's just so much action that I do not give a shit about at all. Like, so Neon Genesis Evangelion, basically it's a big robot anime. That's it. Like, it's a big robot anime when it starts off. There's things called angels that come down to the planet to, I don't know, destroy it. Something cliche. Like, it doesn't matter until like the last 10 episodes. And I just kept seeing these anime characters fighting more and more and more big robots. I was like, I don't care. Oh my god, I don't care. And if it was not for those 3 things, Dustin, Metal Gear, and Nier, to keep pushing me through, I would have dropped this shit like 3 or 4 episodes in, because I felt like my time was being wasted. Most of this was watched over the top of my phone. I could not stand this. However, what kept me going was that the opener is some banging tracks. Oh my god. Dorian, you don't understand, man. The fucking opening track is, I don't understand how this song is just so perfect. It makes me just want to fucking dance. Every single time that a new episode started, I'd be like, oh, is this finally going to be the good one? Because the track hypes you up so much that it tricks you into thinking you might be watching something good. But
Like,
no.
is this for the intro? Sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Oh my god, the intro is such a fucking bop. Oh my god.
That's honestly
But
what carried me through a lot of Death Note too.
oh my god, Death Note falls off a fucking cliff as
Oh, it
soon as
does.
they change the opening.
Oh, it does. But first half, that opening part is a fucking banger, man. Like, holy shit.
Neon Genesis has easily supplanted Death Note as my reason for why I don't like anime. Death Note is one good. If we split it into fours, the first quarter is good. The second quarter makes me want to fucking die. The third quarter is really good. And then the final quarter is just such a waste of my time that
Yeah.
I feel like I could easily sue someone for trying to attempted murder me with that last quarter.
Yeah, I
Like,
totally agree.
Death Note was my example of, if there is stuff that I like there that I still am ready to throw away the entire thing for, that's why anime's bad. Neon Genesis Evangelion is something that I'm still on the fence if I want to throw away or not. And that's impressive to me, especially when you consider that I have not stopped thinking about it for about 2 days. Now, Dorian, there are literal scenes that Metal Gear just straight lifted from Evangelion. I could not believe it. There are just straight up concepts that Metal Gear went, yes, that's mine now, and no one will ever know.
Yeah.
And I never knew.
Kojima cited this as an influence, hasn't he?
No,
Oh, he
no.
hasn't. Okay. I
Yeah,
thought he had.
that's the thing. I did very, very minor research, which is one of the things that I'll lead into next. But at least from what it seems like, Kojima has never fully talked about Evangelion in the context of Metal Gear. He's talked about watching it, but at least from that video that I watched from your favorite YouTuber, Super Bunny Hop, he went in and dug in deep, and pretty much the only thing he could find was that Kojima has watched Evangelion, and that's about it. But
Okay. So if that was Super Bunny Hop's conclusion, then yeah, I'm going to assume the opposite. So.
but man, I was just so ready to fucking hate the show. And the show made it so easy for me to hate it. And then there's a moment when it finally just turned. And here's the thing, at least from what I did with the very minor research that I did, it seemed like the show was being written episode to episode, and it wasn't until later on that the person who is the creative behind it, Hideki Anno. Apparently, he started getting depressed around the ending part of when he was writing it, and it seeped in really deep into the show, and the show finally starts getting ridiculously existential, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, what the hell is going on?" And then suddenly it stopped being big robots just punching each other, and it felt like they were running out of budget too, which, at least from the minor research that I looked, it doesn't seem like budget was an issue, but it feels like it so badly. But man, when they started losing that budget, once again, can't prove it. Once they started losing that budget, I liked it way more. And then the final 2 episodes were just the exact same shit that I was talking about with Perfect Blue. The medium is the message, and man, the artwork that's on display and the changes in animation and the story that they're telling, I could not believe that this was hiding here after so much garbage that I had to go through. I had no idea that this would be hiding at the end of it. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is art. Why did you waste my time with like 18 episodes to finally get some shit where I was like, "Oh wow, did that have value in it?" And you know what I learned? Apparently people hated those last 2 episodes.
Of course they
Like,
did.
they hated it to the point that they gave that animation studio death threats, to the point that they came back and went and made a movie to replace those last 2 episodes.
Oh boy.
But you wanna know what's the insane thing? They doubled down on the weird shit. They not no, no, doubled down is putting it lightly. They quintupled down on the weirdness, and it basically was just the ending of Metal Gear Solid 2. Not in ideas, more of like in the execution of it. You know when Metal Gear Solid 2 just starts tearing itself down to make
Yeah.
a message, the show just starts breaking itself down. And there is a moment when it happens where I was thinking, holy shit, this is experimental as hell. And this is something that I don't know if I could easily throw away. However, every single time I think that, I think, how long did you have to suffer through all the etchy shit? How long did you have to suffer through just giant robots punching each other? How long did you have to suffer through characters that you do not care about? How much did you have to suffer through all of that? Was that worth it for this? And I can't ever come to an answer. I can't come to a conclusion because it hits the exact same notes of the stuff that I love, that I revere so highly. I just wish that it could get remade, which, to be fair, I think there is. I think they remade the entire show in a four-part movie, I think. I don't know, I'll probably have to read into it, but if they remake it into movies, that really solves a whole bunch of my problems. But, man, I do not know where to begin or end with this. But all I know is that the song for the opening slaps. There is a penguin called Pen Pen who is just one of my favorite things ever now. He's literally just a pet penguin who is named Pen Pen, and every single time he showed up, he does nothing. He does absolutely nothing. He has no relevance to the story. But me and my wife, every time we saw Pen Pen, we're like, "It's motherfucking Pen Pen! Look at Pen Pen!" Like, oh my god, we were so excited. So that's 2 things. Also, the 3rd one, there is a moment where, of course, in the movie, it starts just breaking itself down and going absolutely bonkers insane, and there's a song that plays, "Come Sweet Death," which is oh my god. That if you know the movie, this song is possibly one of my favorite moments of a song being put to a scene that I've ever watched. And once again, every single time I compliment it, my mind immediately hits back with, but all that shit that you had to go through, was it worth it? And I can't ever answer it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I think what I find most, and I should preface this. I know almost nothing about this. Like I have the Wikipedia page open. I knew there was about robots fighting each other. That's about all I knew about the show. So I
Mhm.
really don't know much, and it's tough for me to comment. What I find interesting about it, though, and from what you just told me, is it's not even like you can't even go back and say, "Oh, yeah, it was a slog to get there, but then it got really good because the guy who made this had a plan all along." It doesn't sound like that. It sounded like he was you said he was writing it week to week. So he literally just got depressed and started to pull this out of his ass. and,
Yes, yes,
and,
there was
and
no plan. There's
I,
not any seeds in the back of the
yeah.
beginning of the show that make you think, "Oh, this is gonna get deeper." It literally just starts getting deeper. Like, there's no real hint to it. Like, the only closest thing to the hint is that you think that the robots are not what they say they are, and, like, that's in the first few episodes. But that just feels like such a trite thing that you can turn that wherever you want, where I don't really think that's a hint that it's more underneath the surface. It's literally just the fact that the creator eventually got depressed and he was writing the episodes back to back to back to back. So it just seeped in and became something more than what it was.
It's wild, man. It almost reminds me of like I hate to say this because it's so mean, but it's partially true, and that's Eminem and how his best work is kind of when he was on drugs
Mhm.
and just like all fucked
Yeah.
up. Like some people's minds just work in a different way, and I don't know, it just clicks better when they're in a certain state of mind, I guess.
Yes, it drives me insane because if you cut this show like in half, the first half is just everything I hate about anime. It's literally just another episode. Okay, we're gonna have some crazy action scenes. Here's your perverted scene. Here's the comedy scene. And oh, I didn't even mention that. That's another thing I fucking hate about anime. They have like 10 tracks that they can cycle through and it's like, oh, this is the dramatic action scene track, this is the comedy scene, and I am very sensitive when it comes to audio. So anytime I hear that and I have the same track cut in and tell me this is how you're supposed to feel right now, and I'm like, you haven't earned this yet, though. There's no reason why you should be playing the comedy scene. You should be playing the comedy sting at the beginning of the comedy scene when nothing comedic has happened. And not only that, I think it doesn't help that for some reason, just Japanese comedy does not work for me. There are people who are like, "Oh man, One Punch Man is fucking hilarious," and I don't remember. I think I got forced into it. Like I was just sitting there, and someone put it on. I was like, "Well, fuck! Like I'm not gonna leave. I guess that's
I
too
would.
much of."
Anime, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, okay. Look, it was my brother-in-law, and my wife was there. I'm not gonna pick her up and be like, "All right, we gotta get out of here. I can't be here."
I don't know,
So
man.
like One Punch Man infuriates me because it's parodying anime, but at the same time,
It is
it's an
anime.
anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's infuriating because they're like, oh, they're making like one example I can think of. There is a moment where a villain is monologuing and telling his whole life story, and the whole joke is like, oh, the villain is always telling their life story, and they go on for too long. But then this goes on for way longer to the point where it's not funny anymore. It's just annoying. And that's the kind of shit that bothers me. That it's it had like this little tiny window to be funny, and then it overshot it to the point where it becomes more annoying than what it's making fun of. And humor just in anime does not work for me. Like it just is something that I don't think I understand. Like there's some absolute mongoloids out there who for some reason don't like British humor and they're wrong, but I think that might be me with Japanese humor. I don't think I get it. And anytime that Evangelion put on the like just this little cheery music, I was like, I hate this. I can't stand this. I don't want to be here anymore. That he's being called Baka again. Oh my god, this is a high comedy. Oh my god, Charlie Chaplin. I hope you're dead in your ground and you're not twisting because you know you love this real comedy shit. Like I hated it, and yet at the end of the day, damn it. There's like a total of 10 episodes where I'm thinking, this is the high watermark for most of the shit that I've watched. Now, here's the insane part. I finished Evangelion late well, okay, early morning Friday because stayed up past midnight Thursday. So I finished it late Friday, and the very next piece of entertainment that I watched was the final episode of The Leftover season 1, and it took me for a little bit of The Leftover season 1 finale to actually make me forget about Evangelion, and that's insane to me, that if you would ever tell me that The Leftovers is on and I would be still thinking about an anime. That's fucking insanity to me.
Yeah, that's a pretty high compliment. It's interesting. You basically, from what you've told me, it's funny. You've basically told me enough that there was zero chance I would ever watch this.
Good
And
call.
and I'll tell you why. It's very simple. I just don't. You know how we were just having that conversation about games and how I have more tolerance for it, right? I
Mhm.
have the exact opposite tolerance when it comes to movies and TV shows. If I'm not getting somewhere within the first few episodes of a show, I'm done. I'm out. And you're telling me it takes what, 15, 16 episodes to actually
Dude,
start to fucking get somewhere?
it wasn't until, like, episode 17
Yeah.
that, like, I looked up from my phone and went, "Wait, that's an interesting idea. Where are you going with that?"
Yeah, and that's a shame because I mean, a remake, you might be right, that might be what it needs because I just don't think I could suffer through 7 like, again, I know this is gonna sound so dumb because 'cause I'll talk about Days Gone later, but I don't when it comes to TV shows and movies, I just don't have that same patience. I will drop something if I'm not enthralled by it, and for 17 episodes, like, that's impressive that you managed to last that long, first of all. Like,
No,
bravo to
you
you.
understand. Like, here's what I did. I tried to make it as easy as possible. If I was watching this shit in the theater room, I just would have dropped it immediately. But like, here's the thing. I tried to give it the best chance it could because of course I love Metal Gear. I love Nier. I
Yeah, for
respect
sure.
Dustin's
I love both
opinions.
those
Like,
things.
exactly, right? So I try to give this the best shot it could. So I usually watched it around the end of day in my bedroom. My wife was nearby and I would pay attention. And if there were moments where it was losing me, I would just go on my phone. I would kind of glance up and like, okay, that's the subtitles. Let me come back to my phone. it I tried to give this the best chance it could because if I tried to fully pay attention to this, I would have not gotten through. Like, no joke, this is something that I legitimately asked. I put it in Dustin's Discord, right? I put it in Dustin's Discord and I asked, when does it get good?
I saw that.
And I think Dustin replied back with like, fuck you. And I was like, I wasn't memeing. I wasn't memeing. I'm serious. At what point does it get good?
Oh,
and
man.
oh, it's oh my god, it's just infuriating because there is just some I haven't even talked about the concepts, like the philosophical concepts behind this. The idea that that's the thing. It's just existential dread. It's just not being comfortable in your own skin, and that's pretty much the mission statement for Near. What is the prolific? Where is the moment that you start declaring who is the enemy? Oh my god, isn't that just Metal Gear with the fact that every single person is trying to betray each other? Like, there is just some things here where I'm like, this is such a magnificent opus that influenced an entire generation of artworks that bore out of this. But man, there was no plan to this. There was no plan to suddenly start getting supremely deep, take your character seriously, explore what makes them tick. That I can't recommend this. I can't. And at that point, I just have to question, okay, I can't recommend it. There are things I like that I can't recommend. But do I like it? And I gotta admit, at this point, I'm leaning more towards I might have to like it if I haven't stopped thinking about it. But at the same time, that same thought creeps into my head. There is so much of the bullshit that you hate in anime here that is front loaded, that pretty much weeds out anyone who could have potentially liked this. Is that enough to get over? And I keep thinking the fact that I can't definitively answer that is something that does not sit right with me.
Yeah, I think it's not something you're gonna be able to determine now or even a couple weeks from now. It might just be you're gonna have to maybe watch it again, as painful as
Oh
that
my
sounds, somewhere down the line and kinda get a second opinion. Or if you don't want to watch it again, ever, maybe that's your answer.
that just means I don't have finality to it, which drives me more insane. But man,
Hey, sometimes you gotta let the mystery be.
but no, but that's the point. That one's the point. This one, I look, Addy, oh my god, seriously. The end of Evangelion is a high watermark for animation. And it drives me insane that it's not a standalone movie. It literally replaces the last 2 episodes, and no joke, both endings, both the last 2 episodes and the movie are just such a cut above so much shit that, like I said, this is where the fucking conflict is. I don't know if I can give it all this because there's just so much you have to work through. But you wanna know what's the other thing that fucking hurts? The fact that I think about Near Replicant, and I think about Automata, and I think about how it's worth it to get through those, even with the investment that they ask of you, and I don't know if I can say the same thing for Evangelion when it might be the same situation.
Yeah. I don't know, that's a tough one.
So, yeah, I fucking hate it, but that might have to be the first special episode where I don't even know if I like it enough to give it a special episode. Like, it might just be enough to discuss it, and at the end, see if it's something that I can overcome.
That sounds like a good idea. I'd book it.
God, I'm in such pain. All right, so render the verdict. Is this gonna be have to? Is this gonna have to come to a retrial? We're gonna have to ask the jury. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, I think the issue right now is you don't even know if you like it or not yet. So I don't feel confident in passing a judgment until we find out if you like it or not yet. So I think we're gonna put the trial on hold for now. And they're gonna do your special episode, and then we'll add an amendment after the fact, whether you're guilty or not.
God damn it. Ugh. Though also the other problem is as well is that there's gonna be highs here that I'm going to compare other stuff to that it won't hit. It won't hit. I think even in the other Discord, like the Last Stand one, like I think I had asked the same question: at what point does it get good? And I don't remember who replied. They're just like, "Yeah, Evangelion is just something so fucking good that at that point, nothing will ever hit that bar. So then you just start lowering the bar heavily to just try and find something that matches it." And I kept thinking, "Oh my god, is this how weebs are created? They find the one thing that hit them so fucking hard that they're just in search of that next high forever. That, to quote, well, paraphrase since I don't remember the exact quote, which is, yeah, sure, I guess I'll watch the goblin become friends with a big titted lady.
Mm. Yeah, that's. I don't know, we're not turning into a wee bed.
I, that's the problem. If I like this, I might have to just claim Weeb Light because that's the problem. I don't know if I can actually I don't know if I can actually accept that last piece. I mean, the beginning piece, not the last piece. I don't know if I can accept that first half and not even first half, the 2/3. That's what's infuriating. So yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion, I am just I don't know how I feel about it. The end of Evangelion, if somehow you could just like watch a solid summary leading into that, that is actually really good. Like the end of Evangelion does not have most of the issues that I have with anime, which is funny because it just seems like anytime that it's an anime movie, for some reason, that tends to just bypass me. Like I don't understand what it is, but end of Evangelion, if you can somehow summarize everything else leading up to it, holy shit, wow, yes, worth it. The show, though, those last like 5 episodes, I don't know if they're worth it. I'm going to abstain from giving Evangelion a score. Like
I, I was
that's
I
the
was
score.
I was predicting a conflicting out of 10, but that works too.
I'm
Uh,
abstaining. That's the thing. I feel like abstain at a 10. That's where I am.
That's fair. I'm gonna just give it I hope it isn't turning into a weeb out of 10, and we'll move on.
God, I really hope so. I really hope so. All right, that's the Weeb trial. All right, court is over. Let's go into the next one because this is definitely pressing matter. We need to go into Days Gone,
Oh, we're going
and
into
I'm just
Days
going to
Gone.
do this. I'm just going to say, "I told you so."
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's put me on trial now. So let's rewind the clock a little bit. Like if last week when I was very much enjoying it, Goofy Charm, really good game. And I'm so ashamed. I'm gonna admit this because I'm honest about my bullshit. I even said in the Discord that I think this game is better than Horizon Zero Dawn at one point, and so I'm not even joking. We did that podcast, and that night I sat down to play more Days Gone. And I did play more Days Gone, and then little things started to grate on me. I'm like, man, like this is getting a little long in the tooth here. None of the side content's really appealing to me, which we'll talk about Far Cry 5 later. That's a different story, but I gotta make some comparisons to that. Because they're both open world games. But none of the side content in Days Gone was appealing to me. And so I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna mainline the story, but the story wasn't interesting enough to really mainline. There's maybe two or three characters I cared about in the entire game. And I think what's most frustrating about Days Gone is that there's a really good there is a good game hidden in there. There's pieces of a good game hidden in there. It's absolutely gorgeous. It sucks though, man. Like it's fucking garbage. It's awful. It's so like it's so 5 out of 10. It's mediocre. It's not good.
Did you
It's not
hear that
good.
clicking?
No, no clicking.
Oh wait, is that clicking coming through or no?
Yeah, now it is. Yeah.
Okay, that was me hitting X to doubt when you said good story and there's good pieces.
Yeah, no shit, eh? I it's so frustrating to me because there is a goofy like the goofy charm bit. It's there. It just the biggest problem with Days Gone, like by far my biggest issue with Days Gone is that it doesn't respect your time. This game does not respect your time whatsoever. Open world games generally, like a good open world game, I find will make the main story. Like if you're just kind of mainlining it and doing the main story, you should be at about 20 hours, I feel. Maybe 25 hours if you got more to tell. And
Mhm.
if you want to spend more time in that world, then make the side content interesting enough that can push it up to 50 hours if you want to push it that far. That's where I think it should be. Days Gone took me nearly 40 hours. I think it was 36, 37 hours. And I fucking mainlined that game, man. I barely did any side content because none of the side content was interesting to me. And it's just the story was not good enough. Like the writing was just not good enough consistently throughout the game. Again, there were bits like and it's so frustrating to me because everybody I talk to about this game that likes the game, it's like, oh, the second half of the game is where it gets really good. You gotta do the hordes. You gotta do the hordes. The hordes suck. I'm sorry. The hordes are not fun. They're not. And it's funny. And you know what? And I'm gonna be honest with you for a second here. The first one I did, the second one, there's kind of a mini one you do after I did. But then by the time I got to the third one, I died a few times trying to do it. And the game actually asks you, hey, do you just want to skip this part and continue with the story?
What?
I'm not joking. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Fuck this. Yes. Not because and honestly, not I don't think it's particularly hard. I just didn't give a shit. I didn't care enough to fucking do this. And I'm like, if they put that in the game, they must have known. Like, they must have realized that this obviously isn't that fun for people. It blows my mind that people are like, this is the crown jewel of Days Gone. Literally, if you die 3 times in a row, it lets you skip it.
Okay, I really want to avoid the blanket statement that if a game lets you skip it, it probably shouldn't be in there. Because I'm going to be honest, like I'm in my mind, I'm thinking of I think it was Vice City, where if you died at a mission and you got out of the hospital, there was a taxi cab that would take you back to the mission. You like can just skip straight there. Like, oh, that invalidates the open world. Like, okay, look, there's a whole bunch of different examples that I know would invalidate it. But let's just say in this specific example, you're not wrong. If they themselves put in a skip button. Wait, you said to skip the horde, right?
The skip the horde part, and that's the thing. I'm not like I agree with what you're saying in general, right? Like you, if there's this particularly hard part or whatever, and they put a skip in the game, it could just be so you can get past it and get back to the story or whatever. But I don't think the hordes were particularly difficult. And I'm sorry, but this is supposed to be the best part of Days Gone. Everyone says this is the best part. This is whether I like it or not. This is the most unique part of Days Gone. So why the fuck are you offering a skip option?
Imagine if you played Persona 5 and they just let you skip all the animation work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like basically fucking what it is. So I was completely wrong. Like I'll admit it. It grated on me the more I played it. There's like I said, there's basically two or three likable characters in the entire game, and yeah, two of them are Boozer and his fucking shotgun. And the worst part, and I'm spoiling it. I don't give a fuck. Write in if you hate it. Fucking Boozer's not even in the second half of the game. Barely. He fucking leaves, and the best part of the game, there's no Boozer. He's gone. He's literally back at the camp in the first part of the game. So it's like fuck off. Like that's like the one of the only. And I actually do like Deacon St. John in pieces. He's the other one I care about. But the only other fucking character, side character that I really don't mind, he's fucking gone.
Dorian, are you telling me that they're not going to make a spin-off called Days Gone Boozer's Revenge?
Likely play that more than I played Days Gone too. But yeah, no, honestly, I see why this game's not getting a sequel now. I think Sony's very smart not to make a game for this sequel. I still don't like that fucking Ben was put on fucking support duty. Like, I do think a studio should retain its autonomy and be able to make what they want or shut him down. Like, if you don't believe him, that's fine too.
Yeah.
But fuck, I understand why they didn't let him make Days Gone 2 now. I'll tell you that much. And it's frustrating to me because, okay, now you might want to mark it for spoilers if you want to. I don't know. Are we going to do spoilers?
It's Days Gone. Who the fuck cares?
Okay, thank you. Because the connections, I love Siphon Filter. I'm a big Siphon Filter fan. I played all three of the, so I haven't played any of the PS2 games, so maybe I'm a fraud fan. But the original three games
Fraud.
for for PS1 are really great games. I like those games, and it's so tantalizing that this is in the Siphon Filter universe. I think that's really fucking cool, and it's obviously in the Siphon Filter universe. They it is.
Hmm.
But fuck me, they ruined any chance of it, in my opinion, with this game. And it's a shame because I honestly think if there was just a more talented studio and better writers behind this, it could have been something at least good. But it's not even there.
What confuses me is that Bend cut their teeth on other people's IP, and they were able to put out Resistance Retribution and Uncharted Golden Abyss, games that people think are like, yeah, those are just as good. And when you look at a game like Jack and Daxter: The Lost Frontier, where people even forget that that game exists, it's one of those things where you think Ben did have the talent. How the fuck did you guys go from working on other people's IP? You finally got your shot to make something creative. I'm putting up quotation marks because I would say that without quotation marks, except Days Gone is what exists.
Yeah.
And nothing about that, just from the offset from what you're saying, or the brief minor mispleasure that I had to be in that world, screams individuality.
Yeah, well, and I'll offer a theory to what you just said. So with Golden Abyss, they obviously had to work close with Naughty Dog. With Resistance Retribution, I'm assuming they work close with Gorilla for that one.
Oh,
Uh,
Resistance is Insomniac.
or Insomniac. I'm sorry. Yes, correct. I'm thinking of Killzone for some reason. My bad. Yeah, Insomniac. With and Sony is very hands off with their studios, like famously so. So I'm imagining they got all the free reign to do whatever they wanted with Days Gone, and they got so much rope that they fucking hung themselves with it. That's what I honestly think happened here. Because if there were people managing this game properly, it would have been 20 hours long. I'm sorry. The main story should not be 36 fucking hours, especially when it starts as slow as it does. I think I even said last week, this game does not start good. It takes a few hours for it to actually even start to remotely get interesting. And I still stand by that. But like it's just so horribly paced and mismanaged. And I just even if you like the hordes at the end of the game, I disagree entirely. The last like I would say few hours of the game, it feels like a fucking Call of Duty game. It feels like a third person Call of Duty game with you just going Rambo in bases, killing everyone. And it's not fun.
It's one thing that I'll definitely say. I hate it. I fucking hate it to put it in the same breath, but the issue you have with Days Gone is the issue I'm having with Evangelion, except it kept going for you. If
Yeah.
if Evangelion kept going after that movie and had the same first half that I had, then I would easily be able to throw this in the garbage. You're still trying to see value in Days Gone, but then it just kept going, and you go, "No, you know what? This isn't a baby in the bathwater. This is like, I don't know, a half-empty shampoo bottle in the bathtub. I can dump that no problem."
Yeah, and it's frustrating because, like I said, I'm not a graphics whore kind of person, but
Mhm.
visually, this is still one of the nicest looking games I played on my OLED. The HDR just pops on it. It's fucking gorgeous. Like I love the visuals of this game, and then I actually play the game.
I will admit that the most that Days Gone had done for me was to make me go, "Huh, you know what? Oregon. That's actually not a place I think about. Would it be bad to go?
Oh,
Would not be bad to go."
Oregon's gorgeous. I'd much rather go to Oregon than ever look at, touch, or play Days Gone. Speaking of which, if anybody's listening to this and would like a copy of Days Gone, feel free to get a hold of me. I'm more than happy to send you one because that is not one that I want to keep in my physical collection. I will get rid of that if I can. And yeah, so I was wrong. Ed was definitely right on that one. I will eat my crow, my humble soup. That's a 5 out of 10 video game. It's again, there are parts of it that I feel are good. It could have been a good game, and it's just completely butchered and mismanaged, especially from the very start. And then as you go to the end, I completely disagree that this game gets better as it goes along because it just shouldn't be that long. So
If anyone in my family wants Days Gone, I want you to know that you're disowned, and I can easily hand over your info to Dorian, and he can send it to you.
yeah, so it's a 2 for 1. You get a copy of Days Gone, you don't have to talk to Ed anymore, so.
Oh shit! Actually, that's actually a really good reason. Shit. Okay, if any of you guys just really want to get rid of me, that's how you do it.
Yeah, so I apologize for my actions last week, and I'll tell you what, if anyone bought Days Gone because of what I said last week, let me know, I'll send you 20 bucks. That's my bad.
I am going to give Days Gone a "I told you so" and a "I need to visit Oregon" and a coveted, well, not coveted. We're gonna give it the Raspberry Award of Naughty Dog North out of 10.
Yeah, and can we never talk about this out of 10? I'm I'm so done with Days Gone. That's how I feel.
Dorian, we're gluttons for torture. All right,
Ugh.
the Discord is still gonna bring it up.
Oh, fuck me.
So are we got the special things out of the way. God, it's an hour 30. Do we just go into the normal episode now?
Yeah, let's go. We're good now. Let's go back to you. Game, movie, whatever you want.
All right, let's go ahead and start with movies. So far, of course, movies and TV, I bundled them together. What I've got here is I've got the 40-year-old virgin when it comes to movies. Then after that, TV shows, I've got Curb Your Enthusiasm and I've got Devs. I forget. Did your list have any other movies and TV that we didn't talk about?
Yes, Love, Death, and Robots.
Okay, perfect. So, how about this? I'll knock out Curb and then 40, and then I'll toss it to you. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. I actually got some
Perfect.
things to say about 40 too. I love 40.
Oh,
So
okay, perfect. All right, so I'll start with the easy one, softball, Curb Your Enthusiasm. I finally finished it. I got through 10 seasons. It took me a couple of years because for some reason I'm such a morose bastard that mainlining comedy is enough for me to go, yeah, you know what? Maybe I'm just like a miserable person, but like happily miserable that I can't watch comedies just back to back to back. So took me years. Curb Your Enthusiasm, highly recommended. No different from anything that I said before. All I know is that, my God, it's still hilarious. And there's just going to be some jokes that my wife and I are going to refer back to each other over and over and over again because of this. I mean, I'm pretty sure very often we still look at each other and go, pretty good. So, Kirby Enthusiasm, great. Fun one to run through over and over again. HBO Max is phenomenal.
yeah, again, this is Seinfeld. This is from the creator of Seinfeld. So if you like Seinfeld, you really owe it to yourself to watch a show. I need to watch more of this show. So absolutely,
Mhm. So, Kirby Enthusiasm, I'm going to give it a out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a. I like your style out of 10. That was good. That was good.
I don't know. Did the mic actually pick up me saying "hey," or did
It
it cut
was
it
it
out?
was it was it was there. It was just very like It was very high pitched. You couldn't get it all, but it was there.
Jesus. Okay. All right. I'm gonna get.
Oh,
There
that
we go.
A,
Hope.
that A is hard, but you're getting there.
All right, that's Curb. Moving on. 4-Year-Old Virgin. Now, this is something that my wife hadn't seen. It was her birthday. We went to go have a nice steak dinner and we got back home and I asked her, "What do you want to do?" And she's like, "I still haven't watched the 40-Year-Old Virgin." So I said, "You know what? It's time to do that." And I hadn't watched this movie in, like, over a decade, and the reason is mostly because I see an Apatow trilogy in my head of the 2000s. While it's not exactly a trilogy, I just can't help but bundle these 3 movies together. The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, and Superbad.
Yeah, correct. I'm
And I
with you.
think it's mostly oh, yeah, absolutely. And for the most part, I think I bundle those 3 together because I feel like those were the big 3 that Apatow basically reestablished himself after Undeclared and Freaks and Geeks. So, like, those are the 3 that feel like relaunched him into the actual public consciousness for the very small number of people who actually knew about him from Freaks and Geeks and Undeclared. So, from there, the reason I never thought about 40-Year-Old Virgin more is because between the 3 of those, I mean, it's easy to say. I mean, Knocked Up and Superbad are just better. Like, they're just better. And
I'm I'm with you.
Mm,
I'm with you.
oh, okay. I was about to say, "Oh, really? Wow." I was
I
like,
don't. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say definitively. I'd say Superbad is easily the best of the three for me.
"Oh, of course."
No questions, hand down. I think Knocked Up and 4-Year-Old Virgin are a lot closer, but I would agree that Knocked Up's a little bit better.
Mhm. I would have to watch Knocked Up again, but like I said, for me, if I was rewatching a comedy movie, Knocked Up just kinda hit better beats that I liked. 40-Year-Old Virgin, I just don't remember why. I just kept thinking, "Oh, I watched that. I'm fine. I'm good." Rewatching it, I think I know what it is, and it's something that people have always complained about Apatow, but it was a complaint I had only learned after finally being acquainted with most of his movies, which is he just doesn't cut these movies down. Like, he really should be cutting these movies down.
For sure. You talking about the pacing of them?
I mean, kind of, because by the time that I got to the 3rd act in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, the movie felt like, "Oh, yeah, we're not just a comedy, we're a movie. Oh, we're gonna have to wrap this up. Hey, cut the jokes, we need to wrap this up really quickly," and for some reason, it's never quickly the way they wrap it up.
Yeah, it's not paced incredibly well. I think, and you're right, it's a little choppy at spots. It does feel like they're kind of rushing through, especially when you get to the end. I still really like the movie. Like, I think for me, it's all about Steve Carell. He's so charming in this movie,
Yes.
and he carries this fucking movie on his back. And there's some
Mm.
and don't get me wrong, there's side characters that are funny in it too. There's a lot of funny people in this movie, but he's just so relentlessly fantastic in this movie.
I feel like Steve Carell is a phenomenal straight man because you have some comedy heavy hitters in here that this man grounds every single one of them. Like, whenever it comes to chemistry between 2 people, like, you have that chemistry just between certain people. Like, there are just some people that you're not going to be able to bounce back off of. But the fact that Steve Carell can bounce off of oh my god. Okay, I'm bringing up a list because the cast for this movie is just something where I was like, "Holy shit, how the hell were all these people hiding here?"
For
Like, at
sure.
least now looking back, you're like, "Whoa, all these people were there." Let's see. We've got Paul Rudd, we got Seth Rogen, Elizabeth Banks, Jane Lynch, Kat Dennings, Leslie Mann, Mindy Kaling, you got
Oh, it's
Cedric
ridiculous.
Yarborough, you got Jonah Hill, you got all these people that he interacts with for the most part with most of them, and each scene is funny. The fact that Steve Carell can bounce off of all these people is just one of those things that's insane that he works every single comedic beat with each one of these people like nothing.
It's impressive. I think it's always tougher in a way to play the straight man. Like, that's not an easy
Yes.
job to be the straight man in comedy. But Steve, not only does he do it so well, but he's hilarious at it. And he's proven that time after time again. And especially with this movie, where this entire movie is just one big fucking dig at him, right? Like, that's all
Yeah.
this movie is. It's literally in the title, The 40-Year-Old Virgin. So the movie's one big dig at him. And I'd have to actually look at his filmography. I'm gonna click and open it right now, but this is the first movie that I really remember of his. So I don't know if this was the movie that put him on the spot or if there was something else before it. But yeah, I when I think of Steve Carell, I think everybody thinks of The Office now, which is fair. But
Hmm.
before The Office was absolutely this for me. Like that's kind of what put him on the map. So
No, I think that this was probably around early time of The Office, so I wouldn't be shocked if this movie broke out. People are like, "Oh, this Steve Carell guy, look at him. Wait, he has a show? Yeah, sure, let me check that out."
so he was in Anchorman. So Anchorman I actually remember from him before, and I love
Oh,
Anchorman. But yeah, besides, but he was a side character in Anchorman as good old Brick.
yup.
But
Oh,
besides
man.
that, there really nothing else. So that was definitely his breakout movie. Was 40-Year-Old Virgin. So
Mhm. Wait, oh, yeah, he was slightly there as Bruce Almighty. I forgot about that.
yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Bruce Almighty.
Dude, he was credited as Steven Carell in that one. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Okay. Yeah. That's odd. I don't know why I'm bothered by that more than I should be. All right. So, 40-Year-Old Virgin, my god, still hilarious. That third act though. I at that was I feel like that's something to denote if it lost me or not. If I look at it and I just go, "You know what? I think I'm just gonna check notifications right now." And anytime that something does that, I'm like, "Ah, that's not a good thing, is it?"
Yeah, and I think you're fair. Like I said, weakest of the three Apatow trilogy for sure. I would probably go that route because I do definitely Superbad's my favorite, and Knocked Up is really good. So
Now,
yeah,
I think my wife has seen Knocked Up, but I'm thinking I might have to revisit those because I know I have not seen either Knocked Up or Superbad in more of a decade. So I feel like I might have to continue. But then
yeah.
again, I'm also going to have to watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall again, which,
Oh my
oh
god,
god.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall's hilarious. I love that movie. That movie's really good.
Now that I think about it, Jason Segel wasn't in this. That feels like he should be.
Yeah, it feels like it. He's in all. He's usually in that mix too. Forgetting Sarah Marshall's. I might. I think Superbad. I think I would still put Superbad above Forgetting Sarah Marshall, but
Yes.
Sarah Marshall will probably be second for me out of those movies. I really like Sarah
Mm.
Marshall.
Also, one thing that I feel like I just have to mention because of how much I hate it. I really hate the ending. I really hate I guess, look, it's probably not fully the description, but I hate the liar revealed where Trish breaks into the house like, "Oh, you have a big box of porn. You're disgusting." And then she just runs away and you have this cheesy ass song playing as Andy's trying to bike after her. I don't even think the joke of, like, him crashing and flying through a billboard is funny enough to justify that. Nothing in it is funny enough. By the time that they actually go and get married and they have sex and he lasts, like, a minute and then afterwards he lasts, like, 3 hours, I didn't think that was funny enough to justify it. And then by the time that there's a musical number at the end of it, why the fuck did so many movies just in the mid 2000s go, "Yeah, we're gonna end on a musical number"? And I was just fuming at this point.
I don't know if I was that angry, but yeah, I would definitely drags a little bit.
I don't know what it is. Like I was okay, I remember this one and I remember You, Me and Dupree. I remember those were the songs. Those were the movies that basically by the time that I had gotten to those, my god, I was just so annoyed whenever they would end on a musical number. Wait, did I say You, Me and Dupree? Damn it. I lost track of what I was even talking about. You, Me and Dupree is another one that ends on a musical number, but I remember there being a trend in the mid 2000s of deciding to end on a musical number, and 40-Year-Old Virgin was probably the most egregious one because I enjoyed it.
That's fair.
Oh my god. So, yeah, 40-Year-Old Virgin, I'm going to give it an Iron Man out of 10. What does that mean? Iron Man is 2/3 of a really good movie and a third act that falls off at the end. Iron Man
Yeah,
out of 10.
you're not wrong. It's probably about a 3 out of 5 for me.
All right. So that is the two that I had. I toss it over to you.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Love, Death, and Robots. Yeah, Love, Death, and Robots is a really cool show. It's a Netflix original, and basically, the best way to explain it is it's basically like a film festival for little animated shorts. Every episode is super short, so I think the longest one is maybe like 12 minutes long or something like that, and
Mm,
most of them are usually around 7 minutes to 10 minutes in length. And season one was really good. There's about 18 episodes. There were some, there was some filler ones in there for sure. But it was really
Mhm.
good, and I thought that was going to be it. I didn't think they were going to do any more of it, to be honest with you. But ended up
Mm.
coming back for a second season. It's from Tim Miller, who's done a lot of really cool shit.
Mm.
And this season, though, is interesting because it's only, let me count here, it's only 8 episodes, and they're really short.
Oh.
So you're really not getting a lot of content with this, and it took them a long time to make. So that's probably my biggest disappointment with it. I still really enjoyed it though. Like I kind of actually went through and I kind of talked about each episode a little bit. So I'm not going to get into too crazy detail about it, but I'll kind of run through a couple of them here. So episode one is automated customer service, and this one was okay. The animation was really fucking creepy though, and it kind of turned me off from the whole episode, if I'm being honest.
Eh.
So that was kind of a pass for me. The second one was called Ice, kind of like a futuristic episode where a couple brothers are like doing bad stuff together. It was okay, didn't really grip me. Animation was cool though. My favorite episode though was the next one called Pop Squad, and this one's really interesting. Kind of like you want to talk about existential dread. It's got a little bit of that in this episode condensed into a really
Ooh.
short form, where
Ooh.
basically it's in the future and you're not allowed to produce, I guess, children anymore, but people kind of have all
Ooh.
these like black market babies that aren't real, and it's really fucked up. And like this, basically, the protagonist is this guy who's got to go fucking kill these kids. It's really
Ooh.
cool. So I love that episode. That was my favorite episode of the season. I thought, and the animation was really cool. So definitely recommend that one. Snow in the Desert's another kind of really cool one. Kind of gave me Star Wars future vibes of this guy on this weird planet. He's an assassin. Cool art style. Really enjoyed that one. The next couple, The Tall Grass, All Through the House, they were both okay. All Through the House was actually Christmas related, and it kind of reminded me of some shorts with like these creepy monsters giving kids presents. I forget the name of it, but that was really cool.
Mm.
Um, the second to last one is called Life Hutch, and this one I need to look up the actor's name, Michael B. Jordan. You know who Michael B. Jordan is?
Ooh.
Yes, it is literally a photorealistic B. Jordan. It's the craziest fucking animation I've ever seen in this episode. Unfortunately, didn't like the episode all that much.
Ah, damn it.
But the animation's fucking neat, and I give it props for that. And then the last episode is actually based off a short story. I guess it's called The Drowned Giant, and that was really interesting. I like that one too. Kind of having a very kind of depressing message as well.
Ooh.
And the so yeah, it ended on a really cool note. So overall, just a little bit about each episode. I think it's a really cool show. If you're into animation, definitely check it out because this will cost you maybe an, an hour of your day if that. It's short, it's quick, you'll blow through them all, especially the season two. It's only 8 episodes. You can watch them in any order. It's completely anthology. They have nothing to do with each other. So yeah.
I actually did watch some of the first season. Or look, they call them volume. I don't care. The season.
Yeah.
I remember watching part of the first season, and I think by the time that I got to, I think it was a farmer episode. The farmers fighting the aliens.
Oh, that
By the
episode was
time I
awful.
got, yeah, I was like, I don't think I want to watch this anymore. The problem is that if I'm watching those, I feel like I need to see them through, and the idea of seeing them through, even though I know I'm not liking it, is just something that for some reason I couldn't get through. I'm pretty sure that if I watched both of them, I'm probably sure I would not regret it. But like I was trying to check Netflix. Netflix doesn't remember how far I got in the first season. But I do know that there was one episode. I think it was The Witness. I
Yeah, I love
think
that episode.
that one was so sick. I don't remember anything about it other than my opinion for it. Like that's
Yeah.
that's where I am.
It's funny you
But
mentioned that. That's literally my favorite episode of the first season. It's really good. I love that episode.
oh man. So yeah, I just was so thoroughly entertained by that one, and I just fell off. I
Yeah.
I don't know. I just never came back, and I didn't wanna come back. I'm pretty sure that the 2nd season is good. I'm pretty sure the animation is gorgeous, but I feel like at this point, I think I would just wanna watch something that is animated and is gonna give me more.
Yeah, it's super uneven. Like that's the biggest problem with the show. Even in season two, like it's only 8 episodes, but so I figured, okay, maybe at least if every episode's gonna be a banger. But unfortunately, every episode isn't a banger. There's a couple in
Mm,
there that are just big misses for me.
mhm,
I do think a couple of them are really outstanding. Like that Pop Squad episode is really great in my opinion.
mhm.
Maybe better than the Witness. I think I should do think I like it more. But it's just, yeah, it's tough to recommend overall. But if you're a fan of animation and you got a little bit of time to kill, like I said,
Mm,
you can blow through them quickly.
fair enough. All right. So I'm going to give your review of Love, Death, and Robots a I need more existentialism out of 10.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Season two, I'd probably overall put it at about 3 out of 5.
All right. Okay. So that is okay. That is your piece. I've already knocked out two things. Let me go ahead and see what's next on here. I've got devs and the leftovers. I'm just gonna hit the leftovers. Okay. It finally clicked with me why I rate season one below the others. I don't like how much they rely on dream sequences to fake you out. And in my head, now I'm ready to put it in the same category as the sex position in Game of Thrones season one, where I think the entire purpose of those fake out scenes is to fake kind of excitement to get people who aren't feeling the show back into it. When really, by the point that you get to the season finale of The Leftovers, you kind of know if it's your show or not.
Oh, for
So
sure.
it
Yeah,
bothers me that they're there to try to appease the people who might not be there.
for sure. I understand that. When I rewatched The Leftovers recently, I kind of did it in chunks and bits and pieces. I actually really didn't watch it coherently, which I would like to do, and I probably will do it again, especially if we end up doing a special episode on the whole thing.
Mhm.
So especially season one, I didn't end up watching all that much of it, but I would like to go back and really finish watching season one again. I do remember it, loving it. Obviously, I think it's still a fantastic piece of television, but it is a step
Yes.
down from season two and season three, and I think a lot of that is honestly just Lindelof just relying on the book and kind of carrying some
Yes.
of the plot lines of the book. And then once that's done, he can kind of like, okay, now in season two, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can explore this space, explore these characters without any chains on me, so to speak, and have the creative freedom to do that. So not to give excuses for it, but I kind of think if we're gonna rate season one lower, I think that's the main reason for it.
I mean, I think I'm ready to follow you down that path more because, yes, everything you said is right, but it feels so much like whenever something happens, like the imagery of the deer popping up just out of nowhere and the dream sequences, those are things where I'm like, I could imagine in a book those work way better. But if you just straight translate it, I'm just seeing a deer. Like I'm just gonna assume it's just pretty imagery. Like I'm not seeing what the deer represents. I think we probably talked about it in the special episode, but even then, none of us were really interested in that. And
Yeah.
especially the dream sequences. I mean, books can jump back and forth between time like nothing, and you don't even realize it. But in a TV show, eventually it just feels like it's a crutch where it's like, okay, we're cutting to something different. You really couldn't just take time out in the show and infer to that instead of taking us on a complete different tangent in a dream sequence to get your point across. And that's the thing. I'm definitely being negative right now, mostly because we've just been super positive about the leftovers.
Oh,
There's no way anyone can construe anything that we say about the leftovers at this point as anything more than the highest recommendation possible.
yeah. When I pick when if I'm saying something negative about the leftovers, it's with a huge grain of salt because I would still drop 99% of other things to watch season one again.
Absolutely.
Like I honestly would. So anything like I'm assuming you too, but anything I say that's
Yes.
negative about this show, it's more just me nitpicking at that point.
Yeah, it's just nothing in life is perfect.
For
So
sure.
it's one of those things that the leftover season one, it's not perfect. Damn, is it still good? Like of fucking Evangelion hit notes that Metal Gear Solid and Near hit, and then the leftovers comes in. It's like, okay, let me give me a couple of minutes. You're back in, aren't you? I'm like, yes, I am. It took me a little bit of time, but I got back there.
Well, I'm glad it did.
Mm. So, leftovers, yeah, still very good. That ending, man, I was so overjoyed. By the time it was done, I looked at my best friend and was like, how fucking about it? And he just looked at me and was like, that might be one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. I
Oh, and
was
he's
like,
seen nothing. Yeah.
oh, and that's what I told him. I was like, dude, you're high on season one right now,
Hmm.
and there's two more seasons left.
Yeah,
Man,
and season 2 and 3 are basically flawless television for me, so if you're into season 1 that hard, oof, boy, boy, boy. You're made for a
That
wild ride.
I'm telling you right now, I cannot wait for season 3. Now, season 2, I still very much like it. I still very much like it. I don't remember why I don't think of it as highly as 3, but then again, it's been a couple of years since I last watched it. So, I'm pretty sure that this time I'll be able to vocalize it more. Because, like this, I mean, when I rewatched it this time, I finally figured out what my problem was with season 1.
Yeah.
We'll probably see if I have that issue with season 2, or it might just end up being that 3 just hits me better.
Yeah.
So, we'll
That's
we'll
what it
find
is
out.
sometimes. Yeah.
Mhm. So, The Leftovers season 1, we're gonna give it you know what? You go ahead and go for your series score because I need to find that right balance between an actual score and still comedic.
Leftovers at its worst is still better than 99% of television out there. So that's an easy 5 out of 5 stars for me.
Mm. All right. I think I'm gonna go with a Justin Theroux's massive dong in sweatpants out of 10.
Ah, it's beautiful. Perfect.
So that's going to be appalling to some people. Some people, it's going to be right up their alley.
Yep.
So
Perfect.
at Justin Theroux's dong in sweatpants out of 10.
Concurred.
All right. So from there, I watched Devs. Now, Devs had the misfortune of being before Evangelion because in my mind quickly dumped this out of my head because it actually makes me sad because by the time I was done with Devs, I was like, man, wow, look at that. That was such a cool idea. Evangelion. I want to blow my fucking brains out. Dev was better. And then as soon as Evangelion takes off, I'm like, fuck, Devs is gone. Devs is gone. I'm never gonna think about Devs again, am I? This is probably the last time Devs will ever come up in my mind, and it's gonna be talking about it here, outside of anyone going, "Oh, Devs, how was that?" Like it actually kind of makes me sad,
Yeah, well,
but at the
but
same
to be
time,
fair, you can't really blame Evangelion for that. I think that if that's how you feel, that probably would have happened no matter what. So
no, no, no. I feel like I would have because devs is something that was probably going to sit with me for a little bit more. But at this point, I have probably missed the window to think about it. Because if it comes down to, okay, so for example, I've got devs open right here. The genre, according to Wikipedia, is drama, science fiction, and techno thriller. You could easily throw that at Evangelion. Easily. So, for example, another example of this happening to me before, I remember buying Titanfall 2 day one, and I was like, damn, this is my shit. The multiplayer, I'm going to be playing this for the rest of my life. And then the siege hook got in me 2 months later. So I just never fully got into Titanfall 2's multiplayer, no matter how much I like it. And I think this might be the same situation, but in a different way. Because devs was something that I was conflicted about, but in all likelihood, probably being more negative than anything else. And then Evangelion comes over here and completely stretches my definition of conflicted. So devs just straight up got uprooted by Evangelion.
sucks to be Alec Garland.
Oh man, it does. It does. So, devs. This show got sunk so hard by the main character. She is a horrendous actress. She is bad. She is every single negative adjective that you can throw to an actress because she is such a nothing character that I don't even remember her name. Every single scene that she's in with someone else, that person becomes a worse actor because of her. She is that bad. Nick Offerman, any single scene that I see him in, I'm just like, man, you are not a comedy guy only. You can bring real fucking pathos to whatever you're saying. And then he gets put in the same scene as her. I'm like, dude, you are horrible. And it keeps happening with every single actor. There are some actors here that listen, I understand that there are some people who really don't go for like the quiet spoken person where it doesn't seem like they're acting, but at the end of the day, they still kind of are. Like, there are some people who don't like Ryan Gosling because he doesn't really act. He's just very good at letting you project the emotions onto him. There are some people who don't like that style. I like it. There are some people in this show that are that way that honestly, once they get put in the same room as her, I can see exactly what they're talking about because I hated every single scene that she's in, and she's the main character.
Yeah, that's rough.
Oh my god. This is one where okay, so light spoilers for the first episode, but then again, I don't recommend it. So I'm not even going to timestamp it. I've spoken enough that if you care about this, you've probably already watched it or you had no plans of watching it anyways. So there is a different main character in the first episode, and that shit was awesome. And that's her boyfriend. So her boyfriend is he's brought into a pretty much a secret team within a tech company that's called devs, and he gets brought in. They show him what they're working on. It's supremely secretive, and he, like, oh my god, the moment where he learns what they're working on, it's so fucking cool. Like, you don't learn what they're working on for like a couple of episodes, so the only thing you know about whatever they're working on is his reaction, and his reaction is one of just terrified realization. Like, he runs into the bathroom and like starts splashing water on himself. He's hyperventilating. He throws up in the toilet, and you're like, How fucking bad could it be that this is your reaction to what they're working on? They're a tech company. What could they possibly creating to gather this reaction?" And he starts recording the code that they're working on, and they catch him and they're like, "Ah, man, it sucks. We liked you. We're going to have to kill you." And they have a fucking great scene where they just kill him with like a grocery bag. Like, they just suffocate him in the middle of this forest. I'm like, this is so cool. This is the greatest thing ever. And then they swap over to the girlfriend, who I was already super cold about when they introduced her. So when I realized that she was becoming the main character, I was like, no, no, the boyfriend, he was someone I could care about. And when he died, I was like, yeah, all right, maybe we're now it's gonna be Nick Offerman's show. No, no, you could literally focus this show on any single other character, and it would have been more interesting. And it's so infuriating that she's the anchor, especially when you have so many people who are like, ah, yeah, she's very special. She's different. She's very special. And then I'm just like, where do you see? What do you see that I'm not seeing? And it drives me insane because okay, so once again, I'm probably just gonna spoil this because look, Addie, are you gonna watch this?
No, I'm not. You're good.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm not even going to spoil tag this again. So, devs, what it is, the thing that they're working on, a tech company has secretly figured out how to break down humans into code to the point where they can create a machine that could go back in time to look at events as well as move forward in time. So the way that they reveal it is fucking cool. There's a scene where they have a screen that's showing like a whole bunch of fuzziness, but you can make out someone on a cross. And what you find out is that that machine can literally show you a scene back in time of Jesus on the cross. And I was like, that is so fucking cool. And apparently the way they explain it is that we just understand humans so well to the way that they work that we don't need your genetic code. We can just be told what happened, put it in the computer, and the computer can show us how it went. And it's such a cool concept, the idea that humans are so predictable that we don't really have free will. Everything is predetermined because we ourselves are just so predictable. And I was like, man, that is such a cool idea that is stuck behind a horrible protagonist to get behind, because the protagonist is so much of a nothing person that it's like, yeah, you're the perfect example of someone who you can tell their entire life because you are nothing. There is nothing before, there is nothing after, and there is nothing for you during the show. And the end of the show, pretty much everyone at this entire point of the show, right, has been basically predetermined for their entire lives. If that machine shows that they're about to do something, they do it, even if they know about the machine telling them that they're gonna do it. Like, they just know this is the track they have to follow. And then at the end, the main character, this absolute fucking nothing of a human being, breaks and does something different. That was the moment where I was like, "I'm just pissed now. You're telling me that this absolute nothing of a person is the only one who had enough free will to not do what the machine told them to do?" I was livid. I was so mad. I was thinking, "How? How?" There are there's so many brilliant minds here. By the way, Nick Offerman is the one who basically spearheaded the idea for the machine. That man is easily like he's the Tim Cook, Steve Jobs, Steve Ballmer, all of them rolled up into one person if you gave him a dead daughter and a wife that left him, right? So he is all of that. The show could have been so much better if it was just about him. But man, the focus on a complete nothing of a character who you're told constantly over again is important, is important, is important, and there's nothing that's there for them. And they're the one that can break the fact that we don't have free will. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. But it drives me insane that there's just cool concepts here. But unlike Evangelion, I can easily throw this one away because that is so detrimental to the entire show that this girl just cannot act. She is a horrendous anchor for this show, and I can't recommend it.
Yeah, that sounds fair. I'm not a fan of Alex Garland's work, so I had no interest in seeing this. But I could definitely see how, like, if you've got an actor that brings the show down, especially if they're the lead actress,
Yep.
that would be a problem. So I totally understand all that. That makes sense.
Part of me really does think that maybe this could have just been a movie. Because, like, I feel like with a movie, you just need to really sit down and focus on not little details like that. Because, like, in a show, you need good actors too. I'm not saying that. I just feel like in a movie, every minute counts. While in a TV show, you can let things kind of slide. So
Yeah,
anytime that
yeah,
she's
absolutely.
not there, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, let's get more of this. Anytime she gets on, I'm just like, man, I don't really care. There's at some point where someone's trying to kill her, and I'm thinking, man, I actually feel like even the person who's trying to kill her, if you just focus the show on him, that'd be better too. That would be bad. I
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah.
But man, she just sucked all the charisma and energy that could have been here. It could have been a movie. I feel like at that point you could have focused in on the cool ideas and maybe had a character who was maybe charismatic enough to imagine, yeah, you know what? You're the kind of person who would have free will. So, oh, another cool thing that I just like. It's not actually devs, it's Deus. The show is called Deus. Apparently the V is a Roman V.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so of course the machine is called devs. It's just called Deus. Of course, Deus is being able to tell the past and the future, which uh it's so cool, but it's such a waste knowing that that main character just ruins it all. Now, I'm gonna go into a different segment of bitching. Streaming fucking sucks. I hadn't streamed a show in so long that I forgot how much streaming sucks. This is such a gorgeously shot show with so many like little minor particle effects and Hulu being 1080, not even 4K. This shit was struggling. And it's not my hardware or anything. I mean, or my internet. I've got 1,000 megabytes down. If there I've never seen Netflix stutter. I've never seen Prime stutter. But for some reason, the garbage ones like Hulu and HBO, who I think probably have better content than the other two, are the ones that have the worst streaming. And it just pisses me off because I was really thinking at the beginning of the show, I was like, you know what? Maybe I do like this enough. Not only did I watch it streaming, when I looked to try to find a Blu ray copy, doesn't exist. just just doesn't exist. If you wanna
No,
watch this shit, streaming, that's it.
that sucks. I hate that.
I mean, especially it's oh, yeah. Okay. But man, the show is so pretty that it pisses me off that even if I don't think it's worth watching, the fact that it doesn't have a physical release to be able to appreciate that properly, it just makes it feel like even more of a waste.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate when they don't give you the option, I feel, to do a physical release. Or to buy one, excuse me. So it's
Yeah.
weird. I maybe it wasn't popular enough. I don't know. Maybe they have like metrics on that where they tend to release it or not. But that's strange.
I mean, probably. That's the thing. Isn't most streaming not popular enough to get a physical release?
Yeah,
That's
true.
what pisses me off.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, devs, I could make fun of it. I'm just gonna give it a disappointment out of 10. Waste of a a waste of a good idea out of 10. And a remake it out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give it an Alex Garland out of 10. Which
Yeah,
you know what
that's
we know what that means for me.
all right. So let me see. That is Curb. That is 40-year-old virgin. That is devs. That's all I got for TV, and that's all you got for movies and TV, right?
Yep.
All right, you take the lead on games.
All right. Well, I guess we'll save Returnal for last because we both did that.
That sounds good to me.
All right, so then I'll go into Mass Effect. I
Ooh.
replayed Mass Effect 1, the part of the Legendary Collection, the BioWare Classic, now part of EA, which at the time I don't think they were for Mass Effect 1. I think they went to EA after that, for Mass Effect 2, actually, if I recall.
Correct.
Um,
The weird one about this one is that Microsoft actually published this one and
yes,
they let it go.
yes, you're right. Back in the day, Addy, Dorian, whatever you want to call me, I was a big, I'm messing up my own name now. I was a big Xbox guy at the time, so I actually had an Xbox 360. I didn't get a PS3 till much later in, thanks to Metal Gear Solid 4,
Hmm.
which we'll talk about that one day, I'm sure. But
Oh, absolutely.
so I played Mass Effect day one. It was an Xbox 360 game. I grabbed it day one, and I really loved it at the time. There was just nothing like it. Like Western RPGs, they existed, but they weren't really that big at the time. I guess there hadn't been a lot of really good ones. Really good
Hmm.
Morrowind and Oblivion and stuff like that. But I was never too into those because I'm not a huge fantasy guy. I prefer more science fiction stuff. Um, Mass Effect though was just a breath of fresh air. It felt really cool and unique for the time. Just so many choices you can make, and then the fact that they all carried over to the next game and impacted your game. The decisions you could totally be like this badass renegade Shepard or like really goody two shoes Paragon. There's just so many different cool things about that game. So I was really excited to replay it for the Legendary Edition. I bought it on Series X, so I've been playing it through on the Xbox. Mainly because I wanted to try the 120 frames per second mode, but I've been sticking with the 4K 60. I just prefer it. But no, the game's really good. It holds up well. It does feel a little bit dated in some ways, for sure. I feel that you can feel the age in this game probably more than you will be able to for the other ones, which I haven't replayed yet, so I'll circle back to that eventually. But that's just kind of how I feel. The beginnings of a really great story are there. I do think the story takes a while to get going in this game. It's definitely a little bit of a slower burn, I feel, than the other Mass Effects games, which is interesting because this is also one of the shorter Mass Effect games. So I found that definitely interesting for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, the characters are there. Again, I feel that the characters are just, you kind of get the beginnings of something good and they get expanded on even better in the sequels. So Garrus, for instance, who's probably my favorite character in
Mhm.
the entire Mass Effect series, he's there in the first one and he's great, but you don't really. I find I didn't click with his character until the second game, and I felt that again with this
Hmm.
first game. So you start to develop the characters, but you don't really spend enough time with them. And the second one, that's what's so brilliant about it, is you start to do the loyalty missions for the suicide mission, and you really start to get into these characters' heads. So it's still, I had a really great time with it. It's still, like, in terms of Western RPGs and RPGs in general, it still really holds up well as a great game. The game looks good. They did a good job remastering it in 4K textures, full flawless 60 frames per second. I didn't notice any frame drops. A lot of weird little bugs and glitches. I don't know if I guess it's just tough to fix those, but yeah, there was
Mhm.
a lot of those that were just difficult to fix. So
All right. Now, I'm glad you had fun watching a playthrough of Mass Effect 1 on YouTube and holding a controller on your Xbox. That sounds pretty awesome.
yeah, because we know Xbox has no games. I'm sorry.
Correct, exactly. We can't be out here trying to pull out the Phil Spencer fake news for people, Xbox, no games.
Yes.
I don't know how they do it. I don't know why they keep insisting they do, but
Sorry about that,
so
folks.
now Mass Effect 1, I keep reminding myself that yes, the Legendary Edition is out, and I keep thinking in my head, "You know what? I'm fine. I don't really feel like I wanna replay them. I'll still probably buy it because, I want the better version." Like, I just have the trilogy that they released on PS3 as a box set. Uh, I think I bought that just a couple of months ago too. I didn't touch it at all, but it's just something that I need to remind myself, wait a minute, it's still technically a new experience for you because you never played Mass Effect 1. So whenever I get to it, it's going to be completely new to me. And there's something about that gets me more excited for it. But at the same time, I'm almost scared because I'm thinking, what if I don't like it? Because I played 2, I played 3, and I just remember anytime that someone will be like, "Oh, Mass Effect is my favorite series of all time," I keep thinking, "But what is it?" I feel like I've just gotten colder over time that I just look at Mass Effect and I go, "Yeah, that's good." And then I don't think about it again. And I'm very scared that if I replay it, it's just going to get worse for me. Like, it's the same reason why I don't go back and play the Ezio trilogy for Assassin's Creed. I'm pretty sure that if I went back, I'd probably hate those fucking games. And now I've just let them become nostalgic things from the PS3 era when I finally had a job to be able to buy games that I wanted to play. Instead of having to rely on my brother maybe once glancing at a game and going, "Yeah, I guess that's not FIFA or Batman. Sure, let's try that."
Yeah, that's a fair point, honestly. We'll see. I have to replay the second and third ones too. I hold the second Mass Effect game is my sixth favorite game of all time. So I hold that game in incredibly high prestige, and we're going to see if it holds up pretty soon because it won't be too much longer until I get to that game. So I'm nervous about that too, but I do want to replay it and see kind of how I feel about that. I will say, especially if you just kind of if you're softening on the Mass Effect series and you're just kind of like hovering around it being good, I don't think the first one's going to do much to help your opinion of that. So it'll be interesting to see when you finally play it. There's a lot of people that really love the first one, and people say it has the best story in the series. I don't agree with that, but maybe you'll be that way too. I do feel it definitely feels the most dated out of the three, though, for sure.
I am gonna be very curious about it because I can imagine that my tastes have absolutely evolved because, like I said, I mean, the PS3 generation was when I finally actually had money to start experiencing the games that at this point I care about, or enough games that I played that I know what I don't like anymore. And Mass Effect was very early on for that. I mean, well, okay, well, early on. Yeah, no, that was probably early on because I think I got a job for the first time, like, around 2012, 2013. So, yeah, I Mass Effect 3 might actually be one of the first games that I had bought with a job when I could consistently buy games. I was already playing games, yes, but it was more like scrounging dollars from here and there from trading stuff in or cutting dollars from off of things that I went, okay, I can finally get a game, and this is going to be my one game for like the next 8 months, at least between a birthday or Christmas. So Mass Effect 3, I think might have been the first one of the first few games that I bought with an actual paycheck that I worked for. And I thought, yeah, this was good. I am I'm scared now, having played a whole bunch of different games and starting to realize that Western RPGs just really aren't my scene. That I'm scared that Mass Effect accidentally falls in that category. I'm just like, I don't know if I want to play this anymore. And I'm scared to tear down Mass Effect because I still do like those memories. I mean, I liked Mass Effect 2 enough that when I did the stupid decision of going through the mass relay, like when they first let you go, I went through it and I got everyone I liked killed. And I was pissed. I got to the end and Miranda was still alive. So I said, okay, you know what? If I get to have sex with Miranda right now, I will go back to my recent save, which is like 10 or 15 hours ago, and replay it from that point. And I did. So I went, fuck. okay, let's restart it. And so I went back and I played the game the right way. I made sure to do all the loyalty missions. I did a whole bunch of the side quests. And the next time that I went through the mass relay, I got through it perfectly. And I was like, damn, that was worth it. And what if, what if I go back and I don't even get to the mass relay again?
Yeah, that would suck, but you gotta be true to yourself, right? Like, you've told me many times before that you're willing to go back and tear things and say it's nostalgia for the sake of nostalgia, right?
You're
So I
you're
think
not
I do
wrong.
think you gotta be true to yourself and try this game eventually again and just see exactly where you stand on it. That's my opinion.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I am going to get to it. It's just that that moment is gonna be like,
It'll be
am I
tough.
gonna have to tear this one down?
It'll be tough,
So
but we'll see. At least the first one will be a new experience, so that'll be something to look forward to, if nothing
yeah,
else.
that's true. Part of me is also thinking that since I could still make choices and create a character, I think I might give it an extra bump in that I'll play FemShep, I'll name it after my wife, and then I'll have her make all the decisions.
That's a really good idea, actually.
But yeah, that's something that I did. I think I did that for Fallout 4. So I just would mess with my wife. Would be like, "Yeah, you got killed by walking into a truck, and the game glitched out, and you died, and then you pet a dog, and then I went to go drown you." And she's just like, "Can you not name the character after me?" I'm like, "No, because it's too funny to me."
That's fair.
So, all right, Mass Effect. How you scoring Mass Effect?
So I actually the original Mass Effect when I like so I've been recording my game scores and reviewing them since the year 2000. So I've got about 21 years worth of games now. So my
Yeah.
original documented my original documented score for Mass Effect was an 8 out of 10. After replaying it, I did bump it down to a 7.5 out of 10. So that's where I'm sticking with it. It's still a really good game. It just, it definitely feels its age a little bit and I do think it's not nearly as good as the other two. Funny enough, I have 3 ranked lower, but that's because of the ending, which we'll talk about when I get to that. So, yeah.
All right. So I am going to rank Mass Effect 1 having not even played it. I'm going to rank it a I'm sorry for killing Rex in the opening comic book for Mass Effect 2 out of 10.
Yeah, it's a good score. You fucking save Rex this time. Rex is a
Dude,
good boy.
why is it every single time that people talk about Mass Effect 1, they're just like, save Rex, save Rex, save Rex? And I'm just like, can it be really that hard to save him? Is it really that annoying to save him?
No, you just need to make basically you kind of got to like unless you're going to glitch it out, you have to pick a side either Paragon or Renegade and go full bore with it. If you try to do both sides of the coin, you probably won't have enough persuasion either way to talk him out of it and you'll have to kill him. So, you just got to be careful with your choices, make sure you commit to one, and then I don't think it's that hard at all.
Ah, that's really annoying. That's something I don't miss about that generation
Yeah,
when there were just straight up binary morality systems where if you're not the devil incarnate or Jesus's favorite boy, like there's no chance for you to get the optimum ending.
interesting. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that either. Honestly, I think they did address that with Mass Effect 3 and finally changed that, but the first two games were pretty heavily like that.
All right. So, all right, my turn for games, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna just bundle these two together because they're repeats. Tony Hawk and Stick of Truth. Tony Hawk, very fun. I like the soundtrack. I dropped it. I don't know. I just wasn't clicking it. It just for me, I realized I was playing it just to do something, and I understand there's a whole bunch of people that are like that. I'm not. Like, I guess Ubisoft is that, which is maybe why I don't like Ubisoft. Like, some people are just playing games to do something, but I need to be really engaged instead of just like, my hands, they need to do something. I like staring at the screen and I like it when I do things, the screen moves. So Tony Hawk, I dropped it. I still need to list it up to sell. It's very good. It's just not what I want. So that's Tony Hawk. I give it a oh man, I was about to say yeah out of 10, but I was like, wait, that's Crazy Taxi. Um I give it an ollie out of 10. Fuck it. I can't remember a song track, and I'm pretty sure that's enough to get me crucified by a whole bunch of different people. Dorian, anything about Tony Hawk?
No, I would like to play them one day, but that's like a definitely a wait for sale game for me. I feel like they'd be
Mhm.
kind of fun in a junk sort of way, but it seems like a $20 game or something like that. So I don't know, man. Like I'm sure they're fun. They're just not the type of game I try to gravitate towards anymore. I wanted to play like Forza Horizon like 4 now forever because that game apparently is actually really fucking good, but it's
Yes.
so tough for me to get into sports games. So yeah,
Dude, it's so weird. Forza is so good. Like those games are just very well made that they're very fun racers. And the problem is that I just don't like watching a video while holding a controller and pretending I'm playing on the Xbox. Like I
yeah.
just don't
Well,
like it.
well, that game's on PC though, so
Oh
that's a
yeah, you're
real
right.
platform. Forza Horizon 4 thankfully is on PC. So you don't have to pretend like I mean you can pretend if you want to play it on your Xbox because Xbox doesn't have games, but yeah.
I love this joke. I really do.
Joke.
Oh yeah, I mean, but we're not on Phil Spencer's dime.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're not here lying to you.
Yeah. So I give Tony Hawk Activision out of 10.
Oh god, that's a disgusting. That's a disgusting score. That's mean. Um, okay, that's Tony Hawk. South Park, Stick of Truth. I am just not in the right mood for this game. Every single time I look at it, I'm just like, I don't want to play you, but I know you're good. I'm still going to commit to you. But I just feel so bad for Stick of Truth because it is in the wrong time for me. It is so good. It's so funny. It's so well written. But every single time I look at it, I'm like, I don't want to play you though. And it's of no fault of the game. It's mine. I think I'm just slowly swinging out of games right now. Like my most of my list was TV, and I think it might be a good sign that I'm slowly falling out of games at the moment. Um 'Cause a lot of times, like, I have a pendulum of where I want my entertainment. There's TV, movie, and games, and ever since I graduated in 2018, I've been on a fucking tear with games. I caught up with so many games that I missed during college because, honestly, some of these classes were annoying as hell, so what I would usually do is that I would just default to Destiny or Siege because I could just jump in really quickly, play for a little bit, and then jump out. And I would usually get games late, like about 2 years or so late, not because of money, but mostly because of time. Because I was like, man, I don't really want to start a single player game and then realize that I'm going to drop it because we're getting close to finals. So pretty much I- I've been hitting it hard for like 3 years of games probably being the main thing that I've been playing. Now, Dorian, while you do say I play only old games, it does infuriate me that 2020 was like the first year I've had where I actually played pretty much almost every major release. I think Doom Eternal might be like the only big one that I didn't get my hands on. But yeah, Stick of Truth. I really hope this isn't a victim where I drop it and then come back to it like way later on. But yeah, still good. Uh
A good game. I like it. Hopefully you get to it. Hopefully you get to it eventually. I will say maybe it's partially. I know you said you're kind of picking on comedy and doing a lot of comedy in a row. And this is a really heavily comedy focused game, so
shit, you're right.
maybe that has something to do with it. And hopefully that's it. I hope you do get back to it at some point though, because the game absolutely holds its weight. It's not super long either, so you can plow through it and get to that ending because I think the ending's hilarious. So it's a good game.
Okay, no, that's it. You just nailed it. I really do think I'm just such a miserable bastard that this is a comedy game and I for some reason can't get through.
Yeah, let's call it that.
Okay, morose bastard out of 10. That's what I'm giving it so far.
I forget if I told my review, but I gave it an 8 out of 10 was my original score for it. So big fan of it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, those are my games. I toss it back to you. I don't remember if you have anything else or are we going to Returnal?
Oh no, it's time to hurt you. Yeah, it's time to hurt you.
Oh,
We're talking about Far Cry 5.
bathroom break. Got it.
So this is the Ubisoft original Far Cry 5. developed by
Oxymoron.
developed
Oxymoron.
developed by Ubisoft Montreal and Toronto, published by Ubisoft, and the fifth main installment in the Far Cry series. Yes, I just read that straight out from Wikipedia. Um, I'm gonna be honest. So it's funny, especially after having Days Gone still fresh in my mind and then playing this game. There's a lot of people clowning on me. They're like, "This is gonna be another Days Gone for you." I was
God,
like,
I
you know what?
wish.
It might be. It might be. I fucking love this game from beginning to end. I love this game. I love this game so much that the biggest complaint I have about this game was the bugs. And I ran into some fucking bugs and glitches in this game. This game, there's a big thread on Ubisoft's forum about it just not running properly on PS5, backwards compatibility, that it crashes randomly. I must have had at least 8 crashes like this. And every time it crashed, I got really pissed off. I lost a bunch of progress and I went and replayed it because I love the game that much. This game is how an open world game should be done. It's a tight 20-hour experience if you're just doing the story stuff. There's fun side stuff though that they implement into the game. So basically how the game works is there's 3 different regions. Joseph Seeds, this big crazy cult guy, which I'll get into the story and characters in a minute. But there's 3 different regions run by each one of his brothers and sisters. And in order to basically finish the region and basically fight the big boss, you need to basically get enough, it's called resistance points. And how you get these is either by doing main story missions, so that's part of it. You can basically get close to maxing it out with main story missions, but then it forces you to do a little bit of side contents to get the rest of those resistance points. And they're really fun. It's some of it's your typical, liberate a certain area, but it's really cool because once you liberate that area, it basically unlocks a bunch of stuff in that area, like vehicle customization, weapons customization, stuff like that. And it just you basically that part though of the map, you won't get crazy encounters anymore. Like there's a lot of shit going on in this game. They're constantly sending bad guys after you, planes after you. But once you basically unlock one of those, then that area is safe. You can basically kind of be around that area and not get constantly harassed, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's really cool. And just the characters and the story in this game are easily the best thing I've played out of a Ubisoft game since Beyond Good and Evil. Like, it's I cannot tell you how much I dug the story and characters. Now, full disclosure, anything that involves cults instant points for me. I find that shit
Ah.
fascinating. I fucking love cult shit. I think it's so cool, and I don't understand why they don't fucking explore that medium more in games. I think it's really fucking cool. This game is basically all about cults, and it's so fucking cool to me how they do it. Like Joseph Seed is the fucking leader of this really creepy, crazy cult, and his like underlings, and how each region feels distinctively different. Man, I just loved it. I loved it so much. I thought the characters were really well written. I was interested in each one of them. The biggest, besides the bugs, the biggest complaint I do have with the game is the fact that your protagonist is not voiced. And you basically pick male or female, and there's no voice to him. And it's very bland, unfortunately, because if they had a really good protagonist to go along with all those other characters, it'd be completely off the charts for me. But that unfortunately holds it back. So overall, though, I absolutely adored my time with this. I think it's great. I do want to mention something spoiler, but I'll let you chime in and cry for a bit if you'd like first. So
Okay, no, don't worry. I just fucking yeeted my mind out of my body as soon as I heard any sort of praise about Far Cry or anything Ubisoft. Hell, I think I might be jaded to this point that even if someone were praising Siege, I think I might have to insult them and be like, "Shut up, get out of here!" Like I like Siege, get out of here. We're praising Ubisoft, fuck it. So pretty much. Have I told you what my experience is with Far Cry?
uh, I think you've played 3, if I recall, but I don't remember much more than that.
No, okay. So my experience with Far Cry is that I played Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood and Revelation. Okay, I'm
Okay.
I'm just shit talking at this point. Okay, no, my actual experience with Far Cry is that I borrowed 4 off of someone.
Okay,
I
spoiler.
got 10 hours in and pretty much I was just like, I'm just doing stuff, whatever. This was around that time, like it was 2015 or 20. I think I got to it in 2015. I think I was just playing it because I didn't know what to do, so I just was playing that. I was taking down these towers, like, yeah, okay, I'm just doing things. And then eventually, it was 10 hours in, I cleared an entire location, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep going. And you know that old design choice where it'd be an open world and they'd be like, "No, you can't come here because we're just going to throw every single enemy at you to kill you."
Yeah.
And I got to that point and they're like, "No, go do the story mission." I was like, "Do you think I give a shit about this story enough to keep playing you? You're fucking funny." And then
Yeah.
popped the disc out and deleted it and gave it back to my, I think it was brother-in-law. Like, I was
Okay.
like, "I don't really wanna fucking play this anymore."
So
So
first of all,
mm,
sorry, go ahead.
oh, so basically, pretty much when I look back at Far Cry, I just think, "Oh, this is the exact same thing that I had with Tony Hawk. I'm just playing this. I don't feel like I'm getting extra about this. It just feels like this exists. I'm doing this to remind myself that I exist." I want actual existentialism shit. I don't want things to be so boring that I start getting existential.
Okay. So first of all, that's totally fair. Far Cry 4 is I never finished it. It's my least favorite Far Cry game, and you everything you just said is 100% correct. And that's what frustrates me. And I'm not going to pick on you, although I'm sure you've said it, but I'm not going to pick on you right now. But just people in general when they're like Far Cry 5 is the exact same as Far Cry 4 and 3. No, it's really fucking not, because I'm going to give you an example. Literally 5 minutes into the game. Or not, no, okay, not literally 5 minutes, but like half an hour into the game, one of the first things you do, and I'm not gonna lie, I audibly groaned, and I'm like, "Oh my god, really?" Half an hour in, you have to climb a tower and activate the tower
Oh god.
to show the map, and I'm like, "Okay, really, Ubisoft?" I'm like, "Really, are we doing this again?" Right? But you climb the tower, and the guy literally says, "Don't worry." And this the guy you're talking with the game, he goes, "Don't worry, I'm not going to make you do this every half an hour. We just need to do it the once to get everything working." So they're literally poking fun at themselves. You climb up, you hit the button, and then the entire map is unlocked. And right there, I'm like, "Okay, okay, we're actually that's funny. We're going to be doing something a little bit different." And true to their word, you don't fucking do that again. The whole literally there's 3 different giant regions. You can go whichever one you want first. They say, "Hey, you should start with, John's region for story reasons." But if you don't wanna start with John's reasons, they let you go anywhere. You can go do her Faith's regions first. You can go do, Jacob's region first. Any order you want, any story mission you want in different any order, any side mission you want in any order. So, it still might not be for you. Obviously, it's not for you and not for a lot of people if you don't want an open world game. But it just frustrates me to such a degree when people are like, "This is the exact same game as Far Cry 3 and 4," and it's really fucking not. So that's my soapbox rant.
What I will say, because I'm about to get tossed into that, is that the games probably all look very similar. And look, I get it. It's like we had discussed before. There's just some things in a certain series that are not going to change. If you're playing Call of Duty, that you don't expect to be fucking holding hands with the enemy and be like, "Ah, yeah, I can fucking skip rope better than you. That's why I'm playing Call of Duty." Like, of course, there's going to be tenets to a series that you don't change.
Mhm.
Far Cry's open world, first person, go around, deal with the animals, let the systems work for themselves, where most of your stories are going to be, "Yeah, man, I let go of a bear and then a tiger came in. And they both fought each other and the enemy just started freaking." Like, I think I'm just not in for the tank for the games that you make the events that you care about.
Mhm.
And granted, I'm speaking generally because it sounds like you're saying that Far Cry 5 has that, but I'm not going to lie. I'm still hearing Far Cry 5 and part of me's thinking, "Oh, okay, so I assume that the different seeds, I assume that they're just going to be kind of like that region boss and you take them down and that's liberating." Am I wrong there?
No, that's correct.
Yeah, that still feels like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a mission here. I'm going to weaken your area here." And that's where I struggle to think, is that a Far Cry tenet? But then I start thinking, well, Assassin's Creed had those shades too, and that's literally most of what I have when it comes to Ubisoft. What I hate is that you're saying all this, and I fucking hate that I might just have to grab another Ubisoft game just to remind myself. Wait, no. Actually, no, hold on. No. I'm not gonna do that because I just remembered that I tried Assassin's Creed Odyssey like a year or two ago, and I still fucking hated it. So never mind. No. Okay. Give me another couple of years before I have to reinforce my ideas.
Yeah, we'll try for Far Cry 6.
God,
Um,
did you see that shit? Did you see how quickly like my mind was like, wait a
I
minute,
know.
no, you still have reinforcement. I'm like, okay, never mind.
There's one more thing I want to mention. So I do want to spoiler it. I know you don't give a fuck about the Far Cry 5. I'm assuming you don't give a fuck about Far Cry 5 spoilers, right?
Absolutely not. Honestly,
Okay.
tell me about the ending because I keep hearing so
Yes.
many people talk about the ending. I'm
Yeah.
like,
So
look,
okay.
look, I'm just gonna take a guess. Just take a blind guess because I know New Dawn exists. Do not confirm it until you count it down if you
Right.
really do care about spoilers.
Yeah.
Is there a nuke?
Okay. So I'm gonna count down spoilers. Three, 2, 1. Yeah, so it's
What?
fucking wild. It's
No way!
fucking wild. So the end of the game, you're just and no, I knew nothing. I knew I've heard of New Dawn, but I don't know any of the gameplay footage for it or anything like that. So I went in blind somehow. I'm usually good with that shit though. And basically, you get to the end of the game. You take down all of his underlings. You get to Joseph Seed himself. You have this really cool boss fight, which is really unique. So like throughout the entire game, you get these companions, right? And like you
Mm,
have to basically you start with your three main companions, and then they're basically on his side. You have to kill the companion, revive the companion for all three of them, and then take down Joseph Seed. But as you're doing it, he can re-kill the companions, so you have to re-revive them, or he goes back to his side. It's pretty
mm,
cool. It starts off with three, then it goes to like seven, then it goes to 11, like all of your companions. So it gets pretty wild. I really like that boss fight. I thought it was cool design. But
mm,
anyway, so you do that. You finally take down Joseph Seed, and you're basically arresting him. And just as you arrest him, like literally out of nowhere, he's just ranting, doing his lunatics. But the entire game, he's been kind of like talking about how the end is coming, all this shit. Boom, fucking nuke drops. You're like, holy fucking shit, this nuke just dropped. It's like you get the mushroom cloud and you get in the car and you're racing towards the bunker. And like you almost make it there, but then you hit a tree like right at the very end. And then basically the end is Joseph comes and grabs you alone. So everybody else that was in the car with you obviously dies. Like they just fucking die to the radiation, the nuke blast. You
mm,
make it in the bunker with him. And basically, like, it's just him kind of ranting about how you killed all of his family members, but now you're the only family member left. So we have to be family. And he just starts like
mm.
singing his hymn, and like it's creepy as fuck, but it's so effective. I loved it. I thought it was really fucking cool.
So, okay, I assume you're a government agent sent in there to investigate, right?
You're just actually a rookie detective. Like, so you're like part of the sheriff squad as a rookie. There is a guy sent in from the government that we're in spoiler territory now. He ends up
Yeah,
killing himself due to the bliss. Basically, there's one of the characters. Her name is Faith, and she has this crazy mind altering shit called the bliss that makes you see things and that aren't really there, and it
the
makes you
usual.
crazy basically. And yeah, he ends up. So the actual government guy ends up shooting himself in the head at that point. But, yeah.
Okay, I don't know. There's just something that oh my god, am I gonna say something nice? I love the idea of nuking your own person that you sent in. It's like, whatever. This is all just for a waste. Boom, drop it.
Well, that's what I again, I have to play New Dawn, and I really do wanna play New Dawn after this, but my assumption from what I can gather is I think the government just was like, "Holy fuck, this area is fucked, just drop a nuke on it." Like, that's what it seems like happened to me because like, the entire thing, like, the game's out of control, these guys are getting really powerful, and, like, you're trying to help the region, but it keeps going to shit even after you're taking these leaders down, they're just growing in numbers, so it feels like it's just like the American government saying, "Okay, Montana's fucked, nuke it."
Mm,
So I don't know. I totally understand. If it's not for you, it's not for you. If you're not a fan of open worlds, you're not a fan of open worlds. You're not really going to like this game. But some of the like story choices they make in this game are really fucking interesting, especially compared to the other Far Cry games because they were never that deep in the story or characters department. But this was pretty fucking cool.
oh, no, you're not convincing me. No,
Yeah,
no, no, no.
I would.
I
I would.
I hear your kind words. I
No.
hear your kind words, and I'm not going to be swayed.
Look, I absolutely love this game. This game is an 8 out of 10 for me. I think it's fantastic, but I would still not recommend it towards you. So that's not a recommendation towards you. But to anyone else who doesn't mind an open world game, who doesn't barf in their mouth every time they hear the words Ubi and soft put together, I would recommend this game towards you. I think it's fucking fantastic. It's my favorite Ubisoft game since Beyond Good and Evil. Really great game.
I'm going to give Far Cry 5 2 awards. Well, 2 awards. Ugh, Jesus, ew, that's too prestigious. I'm going to give it 2 ratings. I'm going to give it the Ubisoft out of 10. Never a good look. Never a good look. I'm going to give it the second score of potentially play to reinforce your thoughts in 2025 about why you still don't like Ubisoft out of 10.
There we go. Sounds good.
So, what was the score that you had given it?
Oh, I give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Okay. All right. No. Okay. All right. No. You got paid off, but okay, fine. You know what? I assume it's because Montreal's right next to wherever you are. I don't know where you are in Canada. I just assume that Canada is just Niagara Falls and Quebec. That's it.
True. So I think that brings us to Returnal.
All right. Yay. We can talk about a game I like. All right. Do I start or you?
You go ahead, because I started with Far Cry. So
Fair enough. Wow. Returnal. I hate that it feels like it was easier than what people made it sound like. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what it is. Just the fact that I don't feel like I wanted to blow my brains out because of the difficulty in this game. I don't know if I'm just incredible MLG or does everyone else suck? I don't know. Did I just get good drops? I don't know. All I know is that I am overall positive on the game so far where I left off. I finished up Biome 3. I don't really give a shit about the story. And every single time that I have the handgun, I just want to throw my PS5 out the window.
you don't like that handgun.
I do not think there is a weapon that I've ever played with in my life that I hate more than that opening handgun for Returnal.
Yeah, it's funny. So for those who don't know, Edwin runs a really nice Twitch stream over at twitch.tv.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Uh, and he's been streaming Returnal, and I assume he'll stream more Returnal when he plays it.
hmm
And I've been watching his streams pretty much as he's been playing it. He seems to be, yeah, overall positive on it, but I don't, I've never really understood the feeling of somebody's soul leaving their body until I see Ed playing with that handgun at the very start of each run, because it's like two different games. It's like for that period where he's running around with that handgun, I feel like he's gonna any second take that disc out, snap it in half, and mail his PS5 back to Jim Ryan. But as soon as he gets rid of that handgun and goes into the whatever other gun, doesn't matter, then it's
Yes.
like, okay, we're playing now. Like we can play the fucking game.
Like it I consider the handgun the longest loading screen of my fucking life.
And I like the handgun, so I don't
Oh
know.
my dude, I hate the handgun so much because you can just hold down and it'll fire, but that thing fires like a goddamn grandma trying to cross a highway.
You can't hold it down. You got to be rapid trigger with the handgun.
And if you're trying to do that, then at that point, you'll land the Gears of War reload, which honestly, I look, I like it. I like that reload, but that handgun shoots so slowly that I was like, I don't really want to worry about reloading. I'd rather just tap the shit out of R2 and just handle it that way. I don't want to play the handgun the way the game wants me to because it's not fun to me. I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't have a gun. I just don't have a gun. I have a sword. That's what I'm gonna use. I have a sword until I have a real gun because I don't want to use this fucking water gun BB shooter I've got.
I'd actually be fascinated to see if you like with burst fire any better. I wonder if that'd make a difference for you.
I'll never know because you
You gotta
need
pick
to
it up. Yeah.
play with it. Oh, I'm never. I I assure you, if I could have deleted the gun from this entire game, I would have. I really do wish that there's a way where you can just play the game, you play the first biome with the sword only, and then when you get a gun, that's when you can actually play. Because then personally, I would love to see someone do just a sword run. It'd probably be impossible, but can you fucking imagine?
Well, it would definitely be impossible because once you get to the bosses, good luck. The third boss,
Yeah.
you just couldn't.
Mhm.
But no, I'm yeah. So I do think like I understand some of your complaints. Like I do kind of almost wonder if they could have done something like Dead Cells, where you
Mhm.
kind of get a random starting weapon at the beginning of every run.
Oh, yes.
The only issue with that though is some of the guns get so fucking powerful, And this, so I actually, I've since we last talked, I finished Returnal. I should mention that, and I actually
Ultimate
finished.
story gamer Dorian
I
over
know,
here beat
I know,
Returnal.
I know. I beat Return, and I fucking love Returnal. It's my game of the year so far. I love Returnal.
Story
I know.
over gameplay, Dorian, game of the year Returnal.
I know. I actually have to say though, I dug the story way more than you did. I really like the story. Now, it's obviously second fiddle compared to everything else going
Of
on in the
course.
game, but I thought it was cool. But yeah, no, once you get the second half of the game, the fourth biome, the game gets
Mm,
easier. Like you start getting weapons with ridiculous traits on them. There's one absolutely carried me was there's a full auto rocket launcher that
mhm.
basically every time, so it's fully automatic. And then when you hit, I forget the name, replicating hit, I think it's called. When you hit something, the rocket breaks off and auto targets and hits something else. And it's fucking ridiculous. You melt enemies with that thing. On top of that, there's another weapon called the Hollow Seeker, and
Ooh.
that one you like that one. That one gets a trait called the Portal Beam, and it basically, as you're firing it, you basically unlock this thing. It's like this giant, like fucking circle that appears next to you and just starts like shooting like an automatic targeting laser at these enemies, and it fucking
Mm,
melts them. And it's just ridiculous. So once you start getting these unlocks, the game progresses and gets a lot easier. I'm actually with you though, Ed, in the sense that like I'm not a very good gamer, I don't think. Like I mean, if I applied myself and put in the time, I could beat a lot of these games, but a lot of the times I just want to experience the story, so I drop it to easy. I did that with Far
mm,
Cry 5. Um with this game though, like it didn't feel that bad. Like after I got past the third biome, which is the biggest like hurdling point for me, the game was pretty smooth sailing. I died 26 times total, which sounds like a lot. It is a lot, but it's not nearly as bad as I thought I was going to be. So I don't think it's as hard as people are cracking it up to me. I think especially once you start learning patterns and the dodges and everything like that, I think the game gets easier. The game also has incredible fucking sound design, so
mm.
that does help with things. So
I wonder if it's because of how we played, because you had streamed it and you had Shane basically guide you through the game, like, "Oh, this is this, this is this,
yeah,
this
the
is
first
this."
half Shane really helped me with the game.
Mhm, and I had to imagine that since I did the same thing where you were my shepherd, was it just that so many people don't have that? Like, they don't have other people to talk about the game with, so they're trying to get through it, and it's like, "What does this do? What does this do?" I gotta admit, Returnal just kinda throws you in the deep
Oh, it
end and
does.
goes, "This is the world now. You just gotta figure it out. Oh, no, you're gonna be wasting runs just trying to figure stuff out. Oh, I'm gonna pick this up." I mean, the game doesn't do a good job of getting you to want to experiment. Like anytime that it might give me a debuff, I'm just
Malfunction.
like, why would I do this?
Yeah, fuck
Why?
that. Never.
Yeah, there's no reason for me to want to risk things. Like I have one life or I have to deal with a fucking handgun again. So there's
Well,
no reason for me to want to try anything new. Like I'm going to choose what I'm already comfortable with and then continue on.
it's funny you say that, and oh my god, I've gone really long and hard and tried not to bring up his name on this podcast, but I'm finally going
Oh
to.
no.
I've been watching a little bit of DSP's playthrough of
Oh my
Returnal.
god, how has he not come up?
I know. I've tried very hard not to bring up our friend Darkside Phil, uh, and it's
King
funny.
Gamer.
A PP gamer, and he takes every malignant item, every fucking malignant item. Hey, he doesn't give a fuck, man. Big swinging dick DSP. He'll just grab that shit, fucking fight off the malfunction, and go through it. I'm like, oh goddamn DSP. But I was the
Oh
same
my.
way. I was the exact same way. I would not touch any item with malignancy unless I had the item that would specifically remove malfunctions. So
Like, I could not see any reason why I would wanna play risky at all. Like, the game just tells you to be conservative so much with the fact that it's a roguelike, and roguelikes, you just tend to play a little bit more scared of everything. In a normal game, if I fall off a cliff, it's like, "Ah, fuck, alright." Every single time that I fell off a cliff on return, I'm like, "No, oh, this is it, this is it, this is" and I land on land underneath me, I'm like, "Oh, thank God." Like, every single time that I would fall off a cliff and there was land underneath me, I was like, "Ooh, that would have been the most annoying thing ever."
I,
I know that it's just chip damage and you come back, but that's health, man. That's health.
I swear I've taken almost as much damage from fucking falling off cliffs, dodging enemies as I have enemies themselves because you're just, it gets so frantic and you're trying to dodge the enemies. You don't realize the cliff is there. You're like, ah, fuck.
Mhm.
Fall into the
No, they're
cliff.
not wrong. Like, just but man, I okay, everyone is talking about Biome 3, and Biome 3 is the hard part, and I don't think Biome 3 is hard. I think what it is that just those robot fucks, like,
Oh
it
yeah.
takes too much time to get back to them. So by the time you get back to them, you're trying to relearn an enemy that one-shotted you the last time you got there. So it takes too much time to get back there for you to learn how they work.
Yeah, I agree. I thought the hardest part of Biome 3 was the third boss, but after I saw, like, I think it was my third time I beat him. It just took a couple like times of understanding his patterns and exactly what he did to finally get to conquer him. And once you get past that, the second time I went back to Biome 3, so you do have to go back, run through all these one more time to do a to get the true ending, to get these basically these fragments.
Mm.
And I ran through the third biome the second time, no problem. One shot it, one shot the boss. So I really think after you learn the patterns and kind of learn what you're doing and learn these bosses, the game gets significantly easier, which is cool. It's rewarding in a way.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and I still say, like, in my opinion, these boss designs are so cool. And the
Mhm.
fights and the music and just the fucking bullet hell they put you through. But it's such a treat to look at and it's so cool, especially, like, did you get to the 4th boss? I forget.
No, I think I had
Oh,
died at some point in the 4th biome
okay.
and then was like, "Okay, you know what? I finally hit a good point. I can pause it." I'm trying to keep Returnal into a long binge session because I wanna be able to feel like I'm making progress. I mean, I
I
played 3 sessions across 2 days, and I got through the 3 biomes, and I think that might be how I wanna keep playing it. Of course, this weekend is a wash, but next weekend, I'm thinking I wanna try to get the actual ending, and then the next weekend, get the, true ending.
One thing I'll say is so, okay, you haven't made it to the 4th boss, but have you seen any videos of the 4th boss or anything?
Nothing.
You're gonna freak. That's all I'll say. If you're as a I know you're a music guy, you're gonna freak. So that's all I'll say.
Oh, you know I like my music.
Oh, it's I'm not gonna spoil it. I do not look up any videos for it because you need to experience it fresh. But the 4th boss is very intrinsically tied in with music, and it's really fucking cool. It's easy. I one shot him. I don't think it's a hard boss, and I think they did that on purpose because that boss fight is a story in itself, and I think it's really cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big fan of whenever a game just kinda goes, "Okay, you got through a really fucking tough part. There's one more challenge, but it's not really. This is your victory lap." The 2 things that come to mind are Modern Warfare 3 and Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I don't think anyone has ever put those 2 games in the same sentence before.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Um, Modern Warfare 3, I think around the end, you know the Juggernauts, right?
I've actually never played Modern Warfare 3.
No, no, but I mean any of the Modern Warfare games.
Ugh, I
No?
mean, I put
Okay.
no, not off the top of my head. I played Modern Warfare 1 and 2, and when they first came out, I have not touched COD since. So
Okay, fair enough. So basically, the juggernauts are like these big, beefy dudes. Like, think of them as the heavies. They have like basically the Hurt Locker outfits on, right? Like the
okay,
bomb squads. So
okay,
they're the ones that take massive amount of bullets and still survive. So they had never been introduced in the actual story. For Modern Warfare 1 or 2, they were usually like Spec Ops things. So, at least, well, Modern Warfare 2 Spec Ops things. So, you actually get to be in one of those suits at the end of Modern Warfare 3, and it's like the last mission. So you're just walking up. It's just you and someone else. I don't know. I didn't actually play the game. I watched a cousin play it because I was like, I don't want to play this game, but I'm still curious about what happens. Here you go. Go ahead. I'm going to just watch. So you get to the last mission. It's been a fucking gauntlet, and you get to this point, and it's just you, I think Price, and you're just walking up to a building wearing the juggernaut suits, and you're just taking like an entire army's worth of bullets, and you're just walking through like, I've got a gun, I'm getting hit, I feel nothing, and you just start popping people, and I was like, this is fucking cool. I love it when games do that.
yeah, I
Now,
know it. Gears 4 did something similar too.
oh, I love it when the game just goes, "You know what? Let your hair down. It's okay. Relax. You've been through a lot. Here we go."
Yeah,
So, the other example is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, most people will never run into this unless you're trying to go for the platinum or if you're doing the VR missions. So, there is a VR mission, right? It is the very it's the second to last boss to finally be done with it. There is a summon that you fight, and you fight the summon, and I remember I was like, "Man, I'm doing good. I got this." The summon summons a summon. The summon summons a summon. So you start fighting 2 of them. I was like, "What the very fuck? That is not fair. What are you talking about? The summon can summon a summon. What is going on here?" And I remember beating it, and I was like, "Fuck, man. I finally did it. I can't believe there's still another boss. What the hell are they going to throw at me besides a boss calling up a friend to try and beat me?" And then what ends up happening is just a blob that sits there and takes hits. And I was like, "Thank you. Oh my god, thank you." And I remember just beating the shit out of this blob that just sat there. I was like, "I did it. I did it."
Yeah, that would feel good.
Oh, so I was if the fact that Returnal's 4th biome does that too, I'm gonna be so overjoyed. I'm just be like, "Oh, you fucker.
Yeah,
You understand."
you went. I mean, you'd had a couple challenges in there, but you did pretty good overall. So I really don't see the fourth biome giving you much trouble. People, there are some people that apparently struggle in the fifth biome. I got through it second try. I didn't think it was that hard, and then the sixth, I got through it first try. So
I'm really hoping that that's the thing. I'm so glad that they had the right idea of making the 3rd biome the midpoint.
yeah,
I
I agree.
kinda hate that saying that feels spoiler, but I feel like I'm dancing around it enough that
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
yeah. But I like the fact that they set it up that way because if I had to do all of that again, I really
Oh
feel
yeah,
like it would hurt the pacing of the game so badly. Because at that
absolutely.
point, your runs are getting longer and longer and longer. To be able to reset it, I'm like, yeah, okay, that was a
No,
good move.
no, I agree, and they hit it. They actually hit it very well beforehand. I didn't realize that was going to be a thing. But yeah, I think it's very welcome, especially with no save states. Like if there's no saving, that was the bare minimum they had to do,
Yeah.
and they did it. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that's the other reason why I don't wanna play it throughout the weekday. I don't wanna be locked to only playing Returnal. So I'm just like, "It's over the weekend." I wanna be able to turn off my PS5. I don't wanna leave it on rest mode and then worry that if I come back, it's just not gonna be there anymore.
yeah, I wouldn't trust the PS5's rest mode. So
Oh, I don't even mean like that. I just mean, like, I'm not gonna wanna be able to come back to my PS5 and be like, "Ah, I wanna play I'm sorry, Returnal. Oh, this isn't what I was in the mood for."
yeah, I hear
Oh,
what you're saying.
well,
That makes sense.
mhm.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too. So I think it's a good weekend game, definitely a good binge game. You want to play it in chunks and try to get as much out as you can. I kind of did that too. It was never my focus game. I kind of played that along while I was playing with other games, and I think it really improved the experience for me. So, like I said, it's my game of the year. I think it's an absolutely fantastic game. It's dripping in sci-fi, like the story, the lore, that's the world. The art design is also fucking cool. The
Mm,
sound design is absolutely incredible with the 3D audio. It sounds so great. um, I cannot say enough good things about this game, and this is coming from a guy that really gameplay is not king for me. Like it's not.
mhm.
I prefer the story, but this game is an exception, and it's absolutely fantastic.
The sound design and the graphics, my god, these 2 things, along with the art direction, are just doing so much work to make you feel like you're in this alien, just foreign world. It's so fucking good. The enemy designs, they just look so horrific that you really are compelled to wanna kill them. Uh, it's just so good. I mean, I've gotten to Biome 3 already. I don't know if it's just that the story feels like it's too parsed out for me to care, or if it's because I'm streaming, but any single time that I hear the story, I'm just like, I don't know if it's just that I don't feel like I can focus on one thing at a time if something is so exceptionally being done. So, for example, I mean, that's the thing. Nothing in Returnal is bad except the handgun. Like, I will just fucking take to the grave that I hate that handgun more than anything else. But the gameplay is so exceptional that I don't feel like I need to pay attention to the story. which is weird, but then again, it's something that popped up in Halo for me too, and I guess to some degree Destiny, which is that the gameplay is just so good that the extraneous stuff I just don't feel like I can care about. I can comment on the audio and I can comment on the graphics, but I don't think it's anything I'd ever bring up whenever I talk about the game. Like, I heard this game occasionally where I'm like, "Ah, yeah, that's some good music." But then the gameplay is taking me so fucking hard in my focus that I stopped paying attention to the music at some point. Like, I know some of these boss battles have good music, but at some point, I don't remember the music. I just remember the gunshots, and I remember being like, "Oh, fuck, I need to worry about this. Okay, they're about to do this. Alright, I need to do this. Fuck, okay, got that hit me. Okay, I need to hit them back so I can like, it's all that going in my mind that I don't feel like I had the bandwidth to pay attention to anything else. Even in the small moments where the story is the only thing that's happening, in my head, I keep thinking, "Alright, this is how much health I got. Okay, I have this weapon. Okay, if I can think about this level, then" like, that's the thing. I don't know what it is. I feel like I can focus on one good thing, and everything else ends up falling to the wayside.
No, that's a totally fair point, honestly. I think, I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit earlier when you said, return. You're scared that Returnal is not very hard. I think, or it's weird to you. I think Returnal isn't as hard as people are saying it is, but that's only if you give it your utmost attention. And to do that, you kind of have to drop the bandwidth in your mind for some of those things. Like I remember the first time I got to the third boss fight, I was playing it and I was doing pretty well with it. And there was a point where the kind of the music kicks in and does this kind of interesting thing. And I thought about it and I started taking damage. So it's you literally all you can do on that game is focus on the gameplay. And if you're not focusing on the minute to minute gameplay of that game, then it's going to be harder for you.
Okay, that's good to know. I think what it is that most of the games I don't play are hard, so I can usually take everything in. But this is just such a gameplay first experience that I really just can't tell. Like Doom in my head, I can hear the drums and the hard guitar, but more than anything else, I hear the demons that are screaming as I rip their insides out. Like that's what I hear more than anything else. For example, like God of War, I played that on hard, not very hard. I played it on hard, and I remember so much of that game. But whenever I think of the Valkyrie Queen and when I was fighting her, I don't remember anything except the location and just her cleaning my fucking clock out constantly until I could finally beat her, which is funny because I think my cousin who let me borrow it, he watched me, and there are some heartbreaking moments when he would watch me. There was one time the Valkyrie Queen, you couldn't see her health, and I just needed one hit, and
Uh,
I died.
oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever you can't see their health and you're just like, "This is it. I just need to throw a leaf on her and she'll be fine." Like, nope, I get killed.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, Returnal, my god, there's just so much that is there that is actually good, but the very fact that the gameplay is so good that I don't care about any of that, that's impressive, honestly.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by this game from Housemarque. I've played Resogun, and I think Resogun and Dead Nation I've played. They're both fun games, but they're not really up my alley. This is the first thing that's really like captured my attention from them for me. So I'm definitely excited to see what they do in the future. Like I said, I absolutely love this game. If we're doing scores, I assume we will soon. I give it a 9 out of 10, which is a really, really incredibly high score for me. I don't give out many of those. So it's absolutely amazing game.
I am going to give Returnal so far a rip and tear until it is done out of 10.
And that's high prestige too from you.
Oh,
So
that is high prestige. My
I still got to
god.
play Eternal one of these days. Win for that next gen patch.
Yeah, no, we're both in the same boat, okay? We're like I'm waiting for that moment because I think I had played a level of Eternal and I was like, "Oh man, this is not the same." Like in Doom 2016, you could easily go through that game with one weapon and you'll be completely fine. From the one level that I played in Eternal, you really need to be juggling every single move set that you have. And that is just ridiculously impressive design. Every single piece of equipment or move that you have, you are going to be using every single thing that they give you in every given moment. And that's just good design to make sure that there is no fat and everything is used, it kicks your ass very quickly because it's just something that you're not used to. You're like, oh, wait, shit, I actually need to continuously juggle everything I got. And then once you start getting into the juggle, it becomes a dance.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've been excited for that one for a little bit. I liked 2016. 2016 was a lot of fun, but from most people, I've heard this game is better. So I'm very excited to give this a shot.
Same. All right. I think that's it.
I think that is it.
Wow, horrific. We actually hit the exact same fucking times we did for the last one.
I know we had so much less to talk about too.
God damn it. Oh my god. I'm going to try to take a scalpel to this thing so fucking hard. As long as if I am not going to let 2 episodes go back to back 3 hours and watch it, I'm going to end up eating my words right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
Dorian, thank you for joining me.
As always, it's been a pleasure.
All right. So at this point, I'm going to have an end card right here. Just watch. It's going to be right here. Hey, look at you. You got to the end of the episode. From episode 0 to the day that I finally get lazy and cancel the show. A big thank you to Joey Rawlings for providing the perfect name for the show. Be sure to always give him thanks, either out loud as you're listening to this, or you can just send him a thank you tweet at boogeyman117 _ That's boogeyman117, IE instead of Y, double O. Be sure that it's an underscore, not a dash, 117.